defeat at Blackburn. However, they followed up with victory last time out versus Swansea. Corberan returns to Ellen Road for the first time since he left as assistant manager in 2020. So Ellen Road is the host for some thrilling Friday night action. We're kicking off our bumper weekend with Leeds against West Brom at 8 p.m. And a warm welcome along to you as well. A full house tonight alongside Joby McAnuff, Hal Robson-Kanu and Jermaine Beckford. Great to have you all with us. Joby, this is going to get confusing. Joby, thinking about what's happened at the start of the season, how much have you enjoyed it? And is it more open perhaps than you thought maybe it would have been?
Not more than I thought it would have been. I've got to say, I've always felt it would be a season where pretty much most teams will come into it thinking they've got a real good opportunity of getting in at least those playoff places. I think you look at certainly the clubs that came down, Leeds, all over the place a little bit at the moment. Southampton, in terms of their recruitment, not quite where they want to be. Leicester looking like they're on the way to an identity, but not quite there yet. Also, Ipswich, brilliant start to the season. So, listen, it's wide open. You only have to look at Sunderland, Middlesbrough, two teams that got in the playoffs last year, haven't even got a point yet. So, I think that is what we're going to see throughout the rest of the season and what's going to make it such an exciting time here in the Championship.
OK, Jermaine, but is it an exciting time to be a Leeds fan? It does seem to be a difficult place at the moment. What have you made of their start to the season?
Performance-wise, not terrible. There's naturally going to be a transitional period where things don't necessarily go their way. You look at all of the players that have left. If we're including Tyler Adams in that, it makes 13 outgoings and only 4 incomings. You know, from the outside looking in, it does look like it's a bit worrying. It looks like it's a little bit unorganised. However, from the inside looking out, it's a little bit clearer. You know, there's a reason why all of those players have had to leave in the first place. They've had choices whether they wanted to stay or whether they wanted to go. However, they've taken up those options, and now it's down to the club, who are making lots of progress behind the scenes to try and make the right acquisitions. You don't just want to bring players in for the sake of bringing players in. They've got to be the right ones to fit in with Daniel Farke's style. Yeah,
we'll definitely get more into that. And how as for West Brom, what have you made of them so far?
Yeah, look, I think it's their 3rd season out of the Premier League now. And I think when you look at the teams in this league, whether they're coming up or whether they're coming down, everyone seems to be in transition. And that is typically the Championship. And I think that's what creates that level of volatility, that level of, unexpectedness around the games, particularly at the start of the season. But the biggest thing for clubs at any stage, particularly obviously coming in, whether they're coming down or coming up, is to get that consistency and that momentum. And those teams who are able to do that within the first 5, 6, 7 games, they're the ones who will really be able to, get an edge on the others. And that really goes a long way, particularly going into, the middle of the season. So it's an exciting start to the season for sure, but there's going to be lots of twists and turns.
Absolutely, and that's why we love it. OK, let's look how Leeds line up tonight. And then they make 2 changes from the side that were beaten in Birmingham. Joe Rodon makes his first start for the club. Club record signing for 34 million, in fact, back in January. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 is starting up front. There's still no Wilfred Gnonto or Luis Sinisterra. David Ornstein from The Athletic has reported that Gnonto tonight has submitted an official transfer request to the club. That's been reported by him online. Only 7 subs for Leeds tonight, and 2 of those are goalkeepers. Well, West Brom stick with a back 3 by the looks of it. Carlos Corberan making 1 change from the Buggies' win against Swansea. Last season's top scorer, Brandon Thomas-Asante, comes back in following injury. We can hear now, though, from the Leeds manager, Daniel Farke. He's been speaking to Jonathan Oakes.
Daniel, what do you need to see from your players tonight as you look to really get your season going?
Yes, always a complex performance. We play against a really strong side, pretty experienced side, and definitely we need also lots of intensity and spirit today on the pitch, but also quality in the ball to move the ball quick enough, a good structure. So, like always in football, you need a pretty complex performance in order to win the points, and this is what we're trying to do.
You've only got 7 players on the bench tonight and 2 of them goalkeepers. So what does that tell us about where you are at the moment?
Nothing. It's not my topic before the game, so we don't need sympathy or we don't want to feel sorry for ourselves. It's no excuse anyhow. So it's 11 against 11, and I also have 5 field players on the bench, so I can't bring more than 5 field players in. So no excuses. So I'm just concentrate on being as competitive as possible with this team, and we won't let our standards drop, and want to be there with a good performance, and also to be there that was a good result. So before the game, this is not a topic for me.
Were Willie Gnonto and 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 ever going to be involved tonight?
Not my topic, so I just concentrate on the lads who are here. They get my full attention, my full backing, and we try with this squad to bring the best possible performance on the pitch. And if we do this, we have quality, then we're also there and competitive in order to fight for points, and that's what we're doing tonight.
𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 is back and starts. How big a boost is that for you?
Yes, important. So we had a full training week with him. I think it does him really well, and obviously, yeah, he needs also a bit game time to be there with his rhythm. But Georgie has outstanding qualities, and hopefully he can bring it on the pitch today and can shine for us. And we back him, we trust him, and he's crucial today.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay, there is lots to unpick at Leeds United right now. To get a clearer context, let's hear from Phil Hay. He writes for The Athletic, specialising in Leeds United, and he's been chatting to John a little earlier.
Well, Phil, the new ownership group certainly didn't want an exodus of players. They'd been keen to retain the assets. So how would you describe the way that those plans are panning out?
Well, they haven't worked, quite simply. It was part of the plan for the summer was that they, in their words, wanted to be aggressive with the retentions, which essentially meant keeping some of the best of the players who came down with them from the Premier League. And I think they saw ways in which Tyler Adams, Willie Gnonto, 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 and others would have been big assets in this division. Two of them at least are still here at the moment. Tyler Adams on his way to Bournemouth will join them subject to a medical. But in reality, what they've found out is that the players that they hoped to retain wanted to leave the club, wanted to move on, wanted to shift elsewhere, and it has made it incredibly difficult. And while they did expect a lot of churn this summer and they did expect an exodus of sorts, they didn't expect it to be this extensive. And I think at this stage of the window, they would have hoped to have been in a better state in that sense than they are at the moment.
Daniel Farke has described it as a really special situation, and I don't think he means that in a good way. Why have they inserted so many loan clauses when if they were just straight transfers, they'd at least get some money and that they can reinvest?
Well, this is the difference here at Leeds. What you're seeing at Ellen Road in comparison to other clubs is the number of players who've been able to leave on loan. And I do feel that the Jack Harrison move to Everton over the weekend was the one that kind of broke the camel's back in terms of the supporter base, because he's a player they could have made a profit on. He's been a big player for the club for several years now, an asset in terms of the money that could have been brought in through a permanent fee. But because he had a loan release clause, he's been able to go for this season, minus any money coming in. What Leeds did when they signed players in the Premier League was to agree with them that if they were relegated to the Championship, they would take big wage cuts of 50, 60%, something like that, which was to make sure that the club didn't have a Premier League wage bill in the Championship. And you'll find plenty of other Premier League sides who don't have those agreements in place. But in order to get the players to agree to that, the makeweight was that there would be some mechanism for them to get out of the club if they wanted to move elsewhere. And the agreement was that those would be via loan clauses inserted, many of which have been activated this summer. And it has left the club in a position where, yes, the wage bill has decreased quite substantially, and that will help them in terms of FFP and PNS and everything else, but it has limited the control over who can go. And it means that whereas with somebody like Jack Harrison they would very much have liked him to stay, actually they've been powerless to stop him going once Everton decided to activate that clause.
So what's the feeling amongst Leeds fans, and what might it take for them to feel optimistic about this season?
Well, I think that's the point really, is that at this stage it's difficult to feel optimistic about this season. I think in fairness to Farke, he's been very honest about what's going on, and he has tried hard not to gloss over the situation as it is, but has also tried hard not to be defeatist. You know, I think he is very much looking at this and hoping that 6, 12, 18 months' time he can look back and laugh at how it started for him, because things have got better. But there is that creeping feeling at the moment of, as much as a relegated side would love to get promoted the first time of asking, it might just be that they're going to need a couple of seasons here, because this hasn't been a perfect summer to this point.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah, perhaps that might feel a bit of an understatement for some Leeds United fans. It has not been the perfect summer, but it's interesting, this loan situation that Leeds United find themselves in. Players like Jack Harrison going to Everton on loan, to everyone externally that seems, well, why has that happened?
Well, the Jack Harrison move is you would have to set that aside, because I think he's done wonders since he signed for the club a few years back. He is injured. He won't be too long before he comes back and he's back to full fitness. But a lot of the other players that you see here, there's like 12, 13 players, and a lot of the contracts that were signed 12 months, 18 months ago had this clause in them that if Leeds United were relegated and a club came in and matched whatever it is their wages were, to help with that financial fair play situation as well, to clear the money off the wage bill. However, it's the other side of it that is causing a lot of issues. Like, you don't mind if players go out on loan or if players are sold, as long as you get reinforcements to come in as well. And there's been a lot of areas in this Leeds United squad over the last couple of years that a lot of fans have constantly questioned as well. And I've been asked it many times about bringing in players in certain positions, and that's one of the main reasons why a lot of the fan base are frustrated.
The fan base might be frustrated as well with Wilfried Gnonto. Joby, David Ornstein, as we said at the top, is reporting on The Athletic. He has submitted an official transfer request now. Essentially, from what's been reported, he's refused to play in the last 2 games. Yeah. If you or I came to work as usual and then decided to stop coming and not fulfilling what we're meant to be doing, not fulfilling our obligations, we'd be in breach of contract. So how is this situation allowed to play out? Well,
the simple answer is that he's a sellable asset. And we've seen that list there, and I think a big factor in terms of why so many have gone on loan is maybe in terms of the fee that Leeds paid initially, they wouldn't recoup that if they were to sell those players now. And you've got FFP, they want to make sure that they're in a good position moving forward and it's not a negative on the balance sheet. So I think that's a big factor in terms of why we've seen those loans. Certainly, with Gnonto, it's a different situation. I think we've all probably been in similar, where there's interest from another football club, maybe Premier League, and he's now sitting here in the Championship, and he feels this is his only way to force through a move. Well, for me,
but he doesn't have a release clause in his contract, apparently.
No, and for me, it's not the right way to do it. You get your head down. He was one of the real only shining lights last year in what was a difficult season, and certainly one I think Leeds fans felt could really help with that push to get them back in. I feel he's been badly advised. I really do. He's a young boy, and we do have to remember that. For me, it would have been in his own benefit to get his head down, do his talking on the football pitch, and then if someone comes in with an offer that Leeds can't refuse, then you get your move.
OK, let's try and be a bit more positive than how. They have brought in some quality. When we look at what they've brought in, Ampadu will be a player you possibly know as well from when you played with Wales. 7 million he costs, so they have invested some money. This is who they've brought in so far. What do you make of that?
Yeah, look, I think, when you look at Ampadu, Joe Rodon and Sam Byron, obviously, as well as Carl Darlow, they've all got fantastic experience and they are quality. If you were to speak to majority of the teams in this league and you ask them if they would add those players to their starting 11, I think a high portion of the teams would do so. Mm-hmm. So I think, there are positives in that, but at the same time, I think, the level of volatility that they're clearly experiencing is really tough to deal with.
Does it affect the players?
100%, and I think for me it always stems from ownership and then management. It's very difficult when owners are putting in these complex clauses around players, and these players are now leaving on loan. That volatility is causing unrest in the changing room. So the players who maybe are having to stay here because they don't have that clause in their contract are then making silly decisions, being advised incorrectly. So I think, it always starts from the top, and so I think Leeds are clearly going to go through a rebuilding phase. Hopefully they have a good season, but it's going to be very difficult because in this league they're one of the top scalps to take.
Well, unfortunately, contributing to all of this as well, Jermaine, is a very long injury list. When you look at some of these names that are missing right now for the Leeds squad, you can see this is partly why they're only fielding 7 subs tonight, 2 of them goalkeepers. I mean, there's some huge names on that list. How much is this affecting Leeds right now?
Oh, it's definitely affecting Leeds massively. You look at some of the names, as you mentioned there, you're talking about the core of the team. Liam Cooper, leader. Stuart Dallas, leader. Patrick Bamford, leader from the front. Somerville, exciting. There's lots of areas and elements of that team that are missing that would help with some of the youngsters in this starting 11 especially. But the frustrating thing is, a lot of the fans they want a little bit more coming from upstairs, and that's one of the reasons that there is unrest. Fortunately, the players that are on the pitch, the 11 that start the game, play really well. The last 2 or 3 games, I think it is this season, they've dominated possession. They've played really nice, neat, intricate football. However, the problems have laid with scoring goals, and they can't score a goal if they haven't got a number. You guys know what it's like. When you're playing with a superstar striker, it makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it? You got that one. They didn't get that.
Those two are lost on that one, but, you know.
I played with you. I didn't get it. I was injured.
I took it for you. It's fine today. Okay, well, one of the new signings we've just been talking about, Ethan Ampadu, is settling into life in Leeds, and Jonathan Oakes has been catching up with him and his Welsh teammate Dan James, and he set them a little challenge too.
How many championship clubs can you name in 30 seconds? Ethan, how many do you reckon?
I said I'm not going above 9. I'll say 9. You can do 12.
Can you do 12?
You can do 12.
I'll do 12.
Yeah, I'll let
That's
you do 12.
half of them.
I'll let you do 12.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Leeds, Cardiff, Swansea, Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich.
It's cruising.
No, I'm not. I've gone Hull.
These cruisers.
Sunderland.
Oh, don't look at the time.
You're up to, is that 9?
QPR,
10?
5 seconds, yeah?
2 more.
Norwich, and I've gone.
Oh, he was so close. Tell us what it means to be a part of Leeds United Football Club this season, Ethan, having joined recently.
Yeah, I'm very excited for when I joined and when the option came about to join this great club. But now it's time for some stability to help myself push forward in my career.
With the way that you've started the season, has it been a reminder of how tough the Championship's going to be?
It's probably one of the, the hardest leagues to come out of this season. Teams have come down, not us, but Southampton and Leicester, who are 2 massive clubs, but also teams have come up who are big clubs as well. I think it's the best it's been in a very long time, and it's very competitive. And we look forward to that competitiveness.
Types of chocolate bars is the next category. Dan, how many can you name in 30 seconds?
It's probably a bit hard, this one, isn't it?
10.
Or 11.
Can you be 11?
This one's harder. You were straight in there. This one's harder, this one, isn't it?
12.
Oh.
Right, OK, Dan,
Oh, God,
compose
wait.
yourself.
Yeah, wait.
Types of chocolate bars, 30 seconds. You're saying 12. Go.
Galaxy, Dairy Milk, Fruit and Nut. Why can't you say that?
It's very different.
Kit Kat.
It's 10 seconds gone already there.
I know, Boost Bar.
It's a quick 15 seconds, that.
No, you can't talk.
Sorry.
You put me on. I can't think of any more.
Was that 7? Stalled on 7.
I'm gone.
To be fair, I'm done.
Just got my head in.
Ethan, tell us about that first conversation you had with Daniel Farke. Were you sort of taken with how much he knew about you as a player?
Yeah, no, definitely. He told me a lot about what I can do, what I can offer, the way he plays, the way he wants me to play, as every manager does. But the thing with him was, to me, he came across really honest. He told me stuff that also I can improve on, which you don't often hear from a manager who wants you to join them. So straight from that, I got the honesty that he thinks I can improve as a player.
I think it's very much the attention to detail. He's, very keen on it. If you're not in the right position, he'll tell you. He's not afraid to do that. And, you're very intense as well. We've got intense training because he wants to take that into a game.
Next one, Dan, types of fruit. How many types of fruit can you name in 30 seconds?
I'll go 8.
That is a low bar. 8.
I'll go 9.
10.
You'll go 10?
Yeah.
I'll go 11. I don't think you get 12.
Uh,
I'm not doing 13, so if you do 12, you're going to say 12.
Then it's on you at least.
I got 12.
Whoa!
Any advance on 12?
I reckon I get 13.
Do you think you could?
13 fruits, a lot, isn't it? I'll give it a go, though.
13
yeah,
fruits.
That's a lot, that, isn't it?
14?
You going 14?
No, 13.
Oh, yeah, you go 14. Oh, you got 14.
Right. Ethan, types of fruit in 30 seconds. You're saying 14?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Go.
Strawberries, bananas, plums, apricots, grapes, mango, mangosteen, kiwi, dragon fruit. Yeah, it's got a little difficult now. Yeah,
9.
really difficult. Raspberries, blueberries, blackberries.
That's 12.
Peaches.
13. Time.
Is he got 14? 14? 13?
14, didn't you?
I said 13, didn't I? You said 14. I said 13, didn't I?
14.
I said 13, didn't I?
Wait, what's a mangosteen?
Yeah, what is that?
Look it up. Mangosteen, honestly, the best fruit. Yeah, Google it. Honestly, unreal.
A mangosteen?
Yeah, recommend it highly. I had it on holiday, that's why. It was a bit of a cheap one.
I thought after you gone pictures... And West Brom on Friday night, Ethan, is this the ideal time to ignite your season under the lights at Ellen Road?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So it's more about not talk, but we've got to go and do it now. Under the lights, going to be a lot of people watching, probably full stadium as it always is. It'll be a pretty good time.
There you are. Learn something new every day. Mangosteen. And Ethan Ampadu clearly knows his fruit, but he knows his football too, Hal. Remember him coming through at Exeter City. He's 22 now. You know him from when you played with him at Wales. What's he going to bring to this Leeds team?
Yeah, look, he's a leader. He's a young leader at 22 years of age. He's got a wealth of experience, 40 plus Welsh international caps under his belt. Has played at very competitive levels, played in international tournaments. And I think in terms of his play and what he'll bring to the Leeds team is that ability to ultimately break up the play, read the game, really understand, the ability of how to control games for the team, which will be vital. And for him, it's a great opportunity now because he's had a few seasons out on loan previously, and now he can really begin to establish himself as a key integral part of the team. And for Leeds this season, he is going to be vital.
Would you say where he's playing now, Howard, that you've seen him close up, is this his best position? Because I've seen him moved about. He's played at full-back at times. He's played at the back. Yeah. For me, this is him, the way he can control a game, his blocks, his interceptions, and then getting teams playing again. Do you say this is where we're going to see the best of him now? Yeah,
look, he's played at full-back, he's played at centre-half, and I think for him, in his best role, is the ability to read the game. We'll see it today where he fills spaces and is able to anticipate and make interceptions, and then ultimately, like you said, make blocks and challenges, which are key. But then that element to drive that transition is going to be a massive part of Leeds' game over the course of the season, because they've got players in the team who can then begin to exploit that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be exciting watching him at this level, because me personally, I feel he's a Premier League player, so he needs to show that at this level, and if he does, it's going to be great for Leeds and great for the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like a massive season for Ethan Ampadu. OK, well, after the break, we're going to turn our attention to West Brom, and we'll be hearing from Corberan. It's the West Brom head coach's first visit back to Ellen Road since he left Marcelo Bielsa's backroom team in 2020, following Leeds' promotion to the Premier League. 16 years since West Brom last came away from Ellen Road with all 3 points. Let's hear from the Buckies camp right now. Carlos Corberan and Jed Wallace have been speaking to Jonathan Oakes.
Well, Carlos, you had some memorable times here at Leeds with Marcelo Bielsa. What's it like to be back?
I think back is, of course, is always special to play in a good stadiums of football. What happened here in the past was just part of the past, and now we can here with West Bromwich with the full commitment, of course, to make our best and to try to achieve the 3 points. That this is, of course, the target that we have tonight.
How do you assess the start you've made to the season?
I think it was important for us and for the players to increase the confidence, the first winning of the season. After a challenge pre-season, we lost the first game away. We after were eliminated in the Carabao Cup. So for us it was important to find the reaction of the team, to find 3 points. And I think sometimes the first winning always is important because it increases the confidence of the team. And even sometimes you don't have to wait to the result to play with confidence because you need to believe to achieve the points. I think has been a positive step for the players. We can hear just knowing that what we did the previous week doesn't mean anything. We come here with the full concentration to make what we need to make tonight with the target that we have to win the game.
Well, Jed, tell us about the session you had with 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 from Albion's blind team this week. He's an inspiration, isn't he?
Yeah, it was amazing to meet 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. The West Brom Foundation do some unbelievable work in the community, and 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 come down to training ground, showed me a thing or two. Amazing what he could do, really, and then I had the privilege of watching him represent England in a week as well. So yeah, it was great to meet 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, and you see how many special people at the football club when you meet people like that. Realise what a lucky position I'm in and the rest of the boys in, that we get to represent the football club.
How did you find dribbling blindfolded?
Yeah, tough, not going to lie. Yeah, yeah, it was just amazing, really. He made it look so easy. I thought, oh, it doesn't actually look that bad. And then put the blindfold on and was falling over pretty much. No, it's special to meet him and see someone like him that's had a lot of challenges in his life. Really inspirational and really humbling, actually. So something I'm glad I've definitely done. But certainly hope I play better tonight than I did when I was dribbling with the blindfold on.
Is it 3 at the back again, or a change of shape?
I think today more important than the shape that we play, that normally you are going to watch different formation during the game. It's going to be important, what I told you, to have the key personality to show our level as a player and to show our level as a team. That's for me the key point. It's not going to be we play with 4 or with 5. If they play with 4 or with 5, for me it's going to be one game with question of personality to see which team can show his real level in the football pitch.
Thank you, Carlos.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just a word for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 and his teammates that we saw there. They drew with Argentina, goalless draw yesterday in the World Games, so well done to them. OK, Hal, let's talk about West Brom then. It was only the 3rd time with West Brom that Carlos Corberan has used a back 3 last week against Swansea. Do you feel they looked more solid in that system rather than the back 4 they used against Blackburn?
Yeah, I think you could say that. It's difficult because I think over the course of last season, they had a solid system, and coming into the season, you always want to test things quite early on. Obviously, everyone, again, as we said, that transition, players are coming in, players at different fitness levels. You're trying to manage the group, so really making sure that you're approaching each game in the best possible way is going to be key, and that's their job as a manager ultimately. So I think he would have definitely assessed the opposition. He would have assessed, previously in terms of their last performance. But for them as a collective now, I think the sooner they have a solid system, the better. And they probably are, haven't got the strength in depth. But I think when you look at a lot of the teams currently in this league, there isn't a massive wealth of depth within squads. But for them, as I said, the sooner they find that system that clicks, the better.
Yeah, when we saw them against Blackburn, perhaps that back 4 didn't suit, and it seemed to play out that way on the pitch, didn't it, JB?
Yeah, but you also have to factor in individual mistakes, and Gray in particular, in terms of his distribution here, just flips one up and Pickering doesn't sort his feet out, and then they get broken on. And this with the 2 centre-halves, they never ever really recover from this position. I think Eric Peters coming in, as he has done recently, as the left side of that 3 at the back. Again, Gray, you see here, a loose ball, 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 not expecting it, and again they go and get punished with the 2 centre-halves. I think certainly in their last game it just gives them, you can see here, the free across that back area, a little bit more insurance when they're out of possession, but also better options when they're on the ball, and I think they did use it fairly well. Certainly in that last game here, you can see the options. You can punch one into midfield there, and then they go from being in a good defensive shape to transitioning and now getting into an area where, you know, they're getting in the box and getting a penalty. So I think the one thing with Carlos Corberan we'll see a lot this year, probably more so than when he first came in, is a change in formation during games. He has that ability to flip, you know, tactically so astute. And I think the point Hal makes in terms of him being able to take away opposition's real big strengths is what he did so well at Huddersfield, and I think we'll see that again with his West Brom team.
But I also think for that formation to work well, they've got to move the ball quickly, and we saw it in a few of the clips there. The ball goes into midfield, it comes back out to the defence, and it pops into midfield, 1 touch, 2 touch. That's how they're going to be successful if they're going to play that formation. Do
you sometimes have teams that you love scoring against when you're a player? How? Because that's the case for Jed Wallace.
Where's this going?
I'm moving away. No, Jed Wallace has scored 4 against Leeds. He'll be relishing tonight, won't he? That's his joint best along with Bristol City. He just always scores against them, it seems.
Yeah,
Probably seems like that for Leeds fans, anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And obviously his time at Millwall, he was very effective and clearly loves playing against Leeds, clearly loves playing up here, and they'll definitely be trying to utilise that today, making sure that he's a key and integral player. You know, he's shown that ability through his years at Millwall at this level, that he's a real threat, and he's got an eye for goal as well as being, you know, a key creator. He's one of the top, obviously, you know, chance creators in the league over the last 5-6 years. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting game for him because he'll have that confidence. Again, you know, mind is so important in these games, and he'll be approaching it knowing that he can score goals at this stadium.
Absolutely. OK, well, it really is a family affair for Leeds' Archie Gray. So let's fill you in with the Gray family tree. So West Brom make one change from their victory over Swansea, with Brandon 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 coming in up front. He's back from injury, meaning Matt Phillips should go wide, and 𝓤𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 makes his 150th appearance for the club. Well, Daniel Farke makes two changes from Leeds' defeat at Birmingham, with 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 making his first start, and club record signing 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓷𝓰 coming in up front. Well, one player who remains in the side is Archie Gray, making his third league start of the season. He follows a dynasty of Grays at Leeds United, with his father, grandfather and great-uncle all having played for the club. And his great-uncle Eddie's a bit of a legend at Leeds. Look at this footwork on this pitch. What a goal this was against Burnley in 1970. And he's been speaking with Jonathan Oakes.
Yeah, he's a Leeds legend and a very proud great-uncle at the moment. Eddie, tell us what it's meant to see Archie playing in the first team. How do you think he's got on so far?
I think he's done very well. I mean, it's always difficult. You come into a team as a young lad, but the family history is good. His granddad was some player, my brother, and his dad was as well. And great connection with Leeds United. So I'm so pleased for Archie, but Archie in his own right has done very well. He's only young, but he's playing the first team at Leeds United, so all credit to him.
And he's the youngest Gray to make his debut for Leeds, so what does that tell us about him?
Well, that annoys me, because I was 17, but he was younger than me. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, like, his dad, Andrew, must be so proud, and his granddad, and the whole family are so proud. I mean, to play here at Elland Road for any player, but to have a little bit of family history when there's a lot of Greys played here at Elland Road, it means a lot.
And there is another Gray in the academy, isn't there? Tell us about Harry, Archie's younger brother.
Harry's a good player, yeah, you know. I don't want to say too much, but there's others after him as well. Don't worry about that, you know. So there's a few more Greys to come through. So hopefully, I would love to see maybe about 4 or 5 of them at one time playing the same side. And that's a possibility.
The dynasty continues. What have you made of the way that Leeds have started this season? Is it fair to say that the Championship is not going to be straightforward?
The Championship's tough for any club. I mean, I think our club are capable to do something in the Championship, but we've got to be at our best in every game. There's no easy games in the Championship. I mean, like, I don't think there's any difference really between the top 6 sides in the Championship and the bottom sides, top, you know, in the Premier League. So it's a tough league. So I think that, you know, like, we've got an opportunity. We've got a lot of decent players at the football club. So hopefully we can bounce back. But I'm under no illusion it's going to be easy.
Thanks, Eddie. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well, that is incredible. Maybe not just Archie Gray, but maybe a load more Grays to be gracing the Elland Road pitch in future. But Jermaine, you've seen him play a fair bit. He's come through the academy. What's he like, not just as a player, but as a person? Because I suppose there might feel a bit of a weight on your shoulders when you've got such a family history. You
would expect it to weigh heavy on his shoulders, but when you watch him play, and I've seen him play for the reserve team, I've seen him in the under-17s, etc., and he looks like he's an experienced pro. He collects the ball under immense pressure. He's so calm under that pressure as well. His control, his movement, he's quite physically strong for a 17-year-old kid as well. And the way he plays with such a maturity. You forget how old he is when you're actually watching him play. He's exciting to watch. There's a weight of expectation from this Elland Road crowd, Joby, and those, you know, he's a young age, as Jermaine said, to be carrying that as well. But he seems to be playing with quite a bit of maturity. Yeah, I've really loved his performances so far. I think, you know, we've touched on Ampadu already. I think they've formed a really good partnership in the middle of the pitch. I think he's got various aspects to his game, whether it is, as Jermaine said, getting on the ball and having it in tight areas, but also this side, which I know this crowd in particular love. Tenacious, he'll win his tackles. You know, this is another fantastic clip here. Comes in, recover, win the ball back, and then off we go. We're working again and we're getting up the pitch, goes and pops a little 1-2 round. Lovely little tricks as well as the hard work. And I think ultimately Leeds fans and every football fan wants to see players that are going to give absolutely 100% to their football club. And I think when you look at the exodus,
certainly question marks about how many players really want to be at this football club and drive them forward. Certainly none with him. And it's not easy. I've played with players who have maybe had a dad or an uncle or someone in the game that have done really well, and that pressure is difficult. I think one thing that may help him here in particular, no one will know more about Leeds United than this boy, you know, because of that family history and what it means to represent this football club. And he's certainly doing his family proud at the moment. He looks a top talent. Absolutely.
Alan, coming to you again for another one of your former Wales teammates, 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. He signed on a season-long loan from Tottenham. August the 10th he arrived, so he makes his first start this evening. Does this feel like quite an important season for him at this stage in his career?
Yeah, it is. You know, he came through at Swansea. Obviously did really well there and moved to Tottenham, a really big move. You know, played in the Premier League, you know, was a key part in that team and played a number of games, big games as well. So he's clearly got that experience. But, you know, for him now, it's that ability to begin to, you know, really develop his career and make a mark. And I think the only way that he will truly make a mark this season is by helping this team get promoted, because, you know, you don't want to come down from the Premier League on loan and be, you know, sort of fighting for in the relegation in the bottom half of the league. You want to be up there fighting for promotion and ultimately achieving it. And I think for him now, that's what his mentality will be coming to this club. And obviously, you know, we've spoken about the exodus, but fundamentally, you know, they need to build the team, the club around players who want to be there, you know, and so he's clearly going to be one of those as well.
Absolutely. Okay, well, it is Friday Night Football Well, we can't wait for this weekend even. It's Super 6 and it's happening tomorrow. £1 million could be yours. Even more ways to win, from the 100 Club for shocking scorelines to the top scorer of the round. Simply download the app or head to the Super 6 website for a chance to become a millionaire. Good luck. And join Simon and the gang to keep up to date with all of the action across the Leeds. Soccer Saturday is back tomorrow at midday. And we can't wait for this to kick off just a few minutes away at Ellen Road as Leeds host West Brom. Kick-off coming shortly.
Players, by the way, and sometimes managers will go, well, he might have put a request in, but I still need him playing. But he's gone, actually, no, if you don't want to play, you come and train at 1 o'clock or whatever, and you don't mix around with the first team at all. And so your Luke Aylings, your Coopers are going to go, I'm having you for that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I am having that. Because I, as an experienced player, when I was obviously older, there's only so much as a player you can say to these young lads, as in, come on, get your health together, and then it starts rubbing off and they rub you the wrong way almost, to say, that's when you need your manager to go, I've seen it, I know what's happening, this is what's happening now, you can train on your own, and they'll get a lot of respect for that.
A reminder then, as the teams are about to make their way out onto the pitch at Ellen Road, if you're tuning in looking for your Super League coverage, it's on now. Wakefield Trinity against Castleford Tigers. Super League clash at Bellevue. If you get online, you can listen to it via your smartphone. bbc.co.uk/Radio Leeds. Find the commentaries link and you'll be able to hear James Staten and Liam Finn describing all the action from Bellevue. That one's getting underway in a couple of minutes' time. We're almost about to get underway here at Ellen Road as well. Friday night football under the lights at Ellen Road. Leeds United, well, experiencing some turbulent times at the moment as the transfer window rumbles on. Hopefully better times ahead, starting with an all-important 3 points tonight against West Bromwich Albion. Of course, we will be taking your messages before, during and after the game. 81333 for text messages, starting those with WYS. Same for WhatsApps, 08000 321 333. Again, put WYS at the beginning of what you'd like to say. On Twitter at BBCWYS. And of course, we will be taking your phone calls as well after the final whistle. As always, there's a lot to discuss. Kyle Bartley then making his way out. He's on the West Brom bench this evening, but getting a very warm round of applause for everything that he achieved during his time here at Ellen Road. Well-respected player here before making the move elsewhere. Who will emerge victorious then? Will it be the former Leeds United under-23s coach, assistant to Marcelo Bielsa, Carlos Corberan here with West Brom tonight? Or will it be Leeds United's first win of the Championship campaign and a first win under Daniel Farke in the league? Handing you over to the commentary team this evening then, former Leeds United defender Matt Kilgallen, our expert summariser tonight, and your commentator Adam Pope, all yours.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everybody listening to West Yorkshire Sport. And when you hear this song, Marching On Together, why wouldn't you want to put on the white shirt just to walk out and hear this? It's a diminishing squad. He's got 18 players tonight. There's 7 on the bench, 2 of them are keepers. But you're hoping now it's becoming Daniel Farke's squad. The players he knows he can trust on, and I tell you what, he can trust on this crowd to back him all the way. Leeds United are coming out onto the park to take on West Brom, and what I think is definitely their toughest test of the season so far. A point to their names. Can they get the first win for Daniel Farke and these magnificent fans? About 33,000 we think tonight. just shy of 2,000 from West Brom, the rest all Leeds. Let me give you the teams as they start to line up. Leeds in their white training tops. Melier in goal. Ayling, Rodon on his full debut. Struijk on his century of appearances for Leeds. And Byram at left back. Gray and Ampadu in that midfield. Shackleton, James and 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Poveda misses out altogether. Gelhardt is in that front line too. On the bench for Leeds, Klaassen, Darlow the keepers. Cresswell drops down to it. JB, Greenwood, Bate and Drama. No Poveda, no Yelder. The latter we know is injured. Perkins is playing for the 21s against Manchester United today, we understand. But of course, no Nonto. We believe he's handed in a transfer request tonight, and still no Sinisterra, and obviously no Costa. Injured, Dallas, Bamford, Joseph, Cooper, Firpo, Greenwood back from injury, one of the bonuses. As for West Brom, well, Alex Palmer in goal, Ajayi, Peters and Kipre in a back three, Furlong, 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, Malumbi and Thomas Asante in the midfield, Jed Wallace, Matt Phillips and Jonathan Swift in the front line, Josh Griffiths on the bench as a keeper, Connor Townsend, former Leeds man Carl Bartley, Josh Mancher, Nathaniel Chaloba, Jeremy Sarmiento, former Leeds midfielder Alex Mowat, Taylor.
Hello, and thank you for listening to BBC Local Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current programme on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contract
Acolyte of the great Bielsa returning to Elland Road for the first time as the manager. It would be easy to suggest that the club hierarchy at one point or another would have liked him to have filled the seat in the opposite dugout. But not too many attacking options around for Leeds at this point in time, Andy Hinchcliffe.
Yeah, a lack of striking options is a major issue for Farke. Injuries, players refusing to play has hampered his team selection. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 is back from injury, but with a lack of starts and no goals for Leeds so far, the jury is out on just how effective he can be. And from a team lacking firepower to a player who's been a championship creative influence for many years now. Jed Wallace has the most championship assists in the last 8 years. He's good for a goal against Leeds as well, as you can see. He's energetic off the ball, but his ability to create opportunities is his greatest attribute.
And Albion, it would seem, starting with a back three after all that debate, as the players send out a resounding message that there is no place for discrimination. West Bromwich Albion have ditched their away kit, which has seen them suffer 2 defeats so far, for their third strip. A very attractive navy blue and red. We shall see whether it's a 3 or a 4, but both teams seeking still to find their way, despite West Bromwich Albion recording victory last week over Swansea. Was not without its nervous moments, particularly at set-piece situations, and that's one area that has been fruitful for Leeds so far this season.
Yeah, for West Brom it could be a back three, could be a back four. Normally Corberan plays a back three when he's playing against a front two, so if he sees Gelhardt and he's supporting 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, he might then decide to get Eric Peters as a third centre-half, but at the moment it looks like a back three with Phillips and Furlong as the wing-backs.
Potentially a 5-3-2 with Swift tucking into midfield rather than a front three, but we'll see. So we can't claim we were totally right the first time. That drifting over the head of a raiding Sam Byram. Farke knows all about his football, but what he needs consistency in terms of Sam Byram is fitness.
Yeah, there could be a lot of work for Matt Phillips to do, because of course he's an attacker by nature, so he wants to get over the halfway line. But with Luke Ayling flying forward from right back for Leeds, he will have to drop back and track those forward runs.
It might be one of the key battles of the night, without question. High on the list. Strauch across. One of those who has fully committed himself to the cause despite the swirling speculation. Here's Ampadu facing his father's old club tonight. Army Ampadu was promoted and relegated in the colours of West Bromwich Albion. Teammate indeed of our good friend Don Goodman during his time at the Hawthorns. This is Malumbi, new squad number for the new season. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰, who's not been without fault at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think for West Brom, playing with a back three obviously gives them that extra defensive centre-half, but also enables them to play out a bit more comfortably from the back.
A lot of teams build with a three, don't they, regardless of the set defensive shape. A hop, skip and a jump, which was awkward for Byron. A flag up for offside. Patrick Bamford, a celebrated figure in their promotion campaign and indeed in their early strides in the Premier League. One of those well-known faces waiting in the wings to ignite the fuse from a Leeds perspective as the season goes on. But at the moment it's a hangover that seems beyond the curative powers of the hair of the dog.
There's a heavy landing there for Luke Ayling, but that's the individual battle I was talking about. Matt Phillips, when Meslier had the ball, he tracked Ayling all the way back in, so when the forward ball was played, he's there to challenge Ayling for the ball. Didn't seem to be any foul in there. And that's what he's been charged with, dropping back in, helping out the defensive effort.
Farke faced with similar scenario in the return to the Championship with Norwich a couple of years ago.
For Farke Leeds, it's been a very difficult start. They just need to get to the end of the month, get the transfer window closed, have a squad they can then work with for a number of months, then they can have a bit of consistency. And Farke knows exactly who he's working with.
It was exactly the mantra in 2020 when they began a successful assault on this division, having dropped down. Interesting burst by Shackleton, a little narrower. Here he is on the ball now. Here's Byron, making some great tracking strides here.
Nice, good, patient football from Leeds. With Archie Gray, sitting deep, giving a bit of defensive insurance to the team. Then fullbacks can step up the pitch, as Byron does really well here, just doesn't wrap his instep around the ball enough. I think he'd be disappointed he's not kept that on target, but good to see him stepping forward.
Popping up in almost in old money and inside forward position there. West Brom was seeming to feel the pressure for a moment there, but they've got out of it.
And that's where having the extra centre-half in Peters so important. Ball played to him into midfield, and West Brom bypassed the press.
It skipped away from Peters, but will fall at the feet of Swift. Lots of space for Furlong. Furlong is kicked out. Need to adjust a little. Ball that came out of the late summer Yorkshire air. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Very popular figure for the Albion. The pressure comes in the shape of Archie Gray. Byram underneath it. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Ampadu. There's the head of Roden. Foul on 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Just off the front, which may be a little more to his taste.
Yeah, he'd led the line for Sunderland, didn't look truly happy there. He's done it for Leeds as well, but I think he's happy with having a front man in front of him, and he can just play in that pocket in behind, because, again, physically, 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 carries more of a threat up against physical centre-half, so 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 can get to that number 10 pocket. He's a bit smaller, ball into his feet, he can play from there.
One thing that they will certainly want to change is the fact that Leeds have conceded first in every game so far in all competitions. James on the receiving end. A yellow card for a disbelieving Darnell Furlong.
Well, clearly the referee believes that Furlong has just blocked James off. James is lightning quick, so when he lays this ball off, you know he's going to spin in behind you and use his pace. And Furlong, he's not even looking at the ball, he's just looking to block off Dan James. He knows exactly what's coming. He's got caught square. James would run past him, that's why he's fouled him.
Well, we're always among friends at Ellen Road.
Are you looking at me?
This is picked up by Roden. Into traffic, though. Found a way out somehow. This is Byram. Now James. Furlong able to stop the cross, and sometimes that's the best you can hope for.
Well, that's what Leeds need from Dan James. Ball into his feet, use your pace, your direct running, commit the wing back, try and get past him, maybe drop a shoulder, come in field, mix up your attacking game, but run at Furlong. Now he's been booked as well. Get the ball out to him, put pressure on.
West Brom had some uncertain moments against Swansea despite their lead from set plays. Ampadu to flick it.
Oh, this is a really poor ball in. Ampadu could actually make something of this, just hangs a leg out. Should really be flicking that on into the 6-yard box.
Well, he won't thank me for reminding him of this, but Ethan Ampadu has been relegated in his last 3 seasons with various loan clubs. Time fortune favoured him. Sheffield United, Venezia and Spezia, to give you the full rundown. He's been on his travels, needs to find a home, I suppose, away from Chelsea. This is Swift. Well, Phillips could be in, but Roden shut the door. Picked up by Thomas Asante in a rather deep position. Okay, 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. And the swift switch. Won by Byram. Everyone was slightly caught unawares there.
For West Bromwich Albion going forward, it's so important to get the ball into John Swift, to Jed Wallace, because those two, over the last 8 years in the Championship, they've created nearly 1,000 chances, so get them on the ball.
John Swift did have a taste of Premier League life at Chelsea. committed Malumbi.
Yeah, I've mentioned earlier, we will see Luke Ayling push forward down the right-hand side, but at the start of the game, it's pretty clear that Leeds are looking to get the ball out to Dan James and run at Darnell Furlong. And as I say, as he's been booked now, Furlong as well, even more important, they get the ball to him, use his speed, his direct running ability, commit Furlong as much as he can.
Corberan just out of his technical area at the moment, always active. Furlong finds a safe route back to Alex Palmer. Kipray feels the heat and will be relieved to hear the referee's whistle.
I'm always concerned when Cedric Kipray is in possession, whether he's in a centre-half as a 2 or a 3. At times he just labours and takes slightly too long. That's why teams pressurise him, and already this season he has made the mistakes with poor passing. So he's got to do things quicker, especially on the edge of your own box. Take a touch and pass it.
Well, he's returned to the fold this season after time away at Cardiff. Ayling. Phillips, energy applauded. They're getting to know each other a little better, Ayling and Phillips. There's some transition though, isn't it, for Phillips? You know, central striker one week, then left wing back the next.
Well, for a coach it's fantastic, that versatility is amazing, but for a player, back in the old days when I was playing, it was kind of, you had a set position, you learned how to play that really well, but then suddenly you're a lone striker, then you're a wing back, then you're a wide midfielder. It's a real test, but one that Matt Phillips can carry out pretty well in any position that he plays.
This is Roden, and here's Gray. We've had a few names lately here at Leeds that have provided a few echoes of the Gilded Age. Liam Cooper, reminder of the great Terry. Strayed off, and there's going to be a booking, and a rather cheap one for 𝓤𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. The awareness of the hard line, as we often reiterate, must have fully penetrated the skulls of professional footballers. This is Shackleton. This could be interesting. It got away from 𝓤𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, but not James. And Palmer had to be down sharply and grateful that someone was there in navy blue to sweep up.
It's a magnificent save, but it all starts with Archie Gray putting pressure on Jan. Archie Gray with the ball at his feet. It's a great pass to the ball, but he's got an appetite to put a challenge in as well, and he got the Leeds ball back for Leeds so high up the pitch, and then got them on the front foot with a quick forward pass.
𝓤𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Break for Wallace. Ampadu. To find a pass to 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 in a tight space. Ayling has to get back. There's one player they probably did expect to sell, Meslier, who is, it would appear, going to stick around. Ampadu. Ayling thought about targeting. Now looking for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, who ran in the space between Ajayi and Kipray, but ran a little too early.
There's an earlier opportunity for Leeds. It all starts with Archie Gray putting pressure on 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Just he's laboured when that ball is played into him. It's vital for West Brom that he keeps possession there, but it's all down to Gray's tenacity. Then gets the ball out of his feet, plays a forward pass, and that's where the opportunity for James comes from. There's maybe a touch on the strike as well. Yeah, it does. It takes a deflection off 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. That is a brilliant save. Archie Gray, a young man playing with such maturity, such responsibility. The position that he's playing, not easy to play in there, but he just wants the ball. Any position that he's in, he wants the ball, and he very rarely gives it away. As we saw there, he can time a tackle.
𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. It'll run for Phillips. That's a useful looking cross. And, well, 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 not kicking himself literally, but kicking the post in frustration.
Yeah, the idea was right from Matt Phillips to try and pick out the onrushing 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Just maybe doesn't get off the ground. Is it slightly overhit? First time really we've seen West Brom get forward into the final third, get a decent ball in. It's just underneath the ball.
Great. Swift in there in appropriate fashion.
When that ball goes back to Meslier, you can see Carlos Corberan, his technical area, screaming at his team to get up the pitch, don't sit deep in their own half. They want to squeeze up to the halfway line. It's a bundle of energy.
Yeah. Before 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, we should note.
There's no sitting on a bucket for Carlos Corberan, is there?
Well, I wonder how often he does actually sit. I don't want a time and motion study, but it is a thought. Says, while he's not in regular contact with Marcelo 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓼, he is always there for him. Cannot put a price, in his words, on his experience here.
He's pleased to be back at Leeds, and he's challenged his players to enjoy this hostile atmosphere, respond to it.
There's a suggestion that Marcelo 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓼, now in charge of Uruguay, we shouldn't forget, would be watching today, but we have no means of confirming that.
You don't have Marcelo's number? No?
It's not something I managed to acquire during his time here. This is 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. That's a threatening ball again. It was not wholly dealt with by Ayling. Just in pockets. West Bromwich Albion looking dangerous. He might fall for Swift here. Kipre.
You can see that Sam Byram's got a problem. He's talking to Dan James saying, you need to help me out. Jed Wallace has drifted in field, so Byram doesn't want to go in there because he's thinking about the forward run of the wing-back 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓼𝓲𝓰. So he's got two players really to deal with, Byram. So that's why Dan James has to come back and help him out, similar in a way to what Phillips is doing for Peters for West Brom.
Winning it back here. Wallace across the face. Ayling not completely away. Just a little change in the atmosphere.
There's a poor clearance, a tentative clearance from Ayling. Just jabbed that ball away, not to safety, gifted it back to West Brom.
Deciding he couldn't go back the way. Gray in a really difficult situation there. Phillips, no flag. There is now against Wallace.
can see how far over the pitch Jed Wallace is coming here, so it's about communication for that Leeds back four. At times Wallace is out on the right, but when play develops like this, he will drift into a centre-forward position. And it's lucky for the Leeds defenders that he is offside, because virtually all of them are watching the ball. They've not appreciated the run in field that he's made.
Strauch's ball. Again, they target James. This time Ajay is drawn out. And Furlong takes up the central station. Ampadu. That handball by Malumbi. It is adjudged to be so. Just seems to stick out the line. Yeah, it's a pretty obvious one. Seems accidental. I'm surprised he's not been booked for that. Well, Matthew Donoghue is the final arbiter. And clearly didn't seem to think it was worthy of it. Surprising though.
Always take a referee's opinion over mine.
Well, how long is the list, to be honest? Gray. That's a foul by 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. It's Malumbi up to Wallace. Albion looking a deal more comfortable at the moment. Bit of a buffeting there for James.
Well, Malumbi's not happy because he feels it was shoulder to shoulder with Dan James. He's flying fortunately, it's that pace that he's got. Malumbi alongside him. He clearly didn't think he fouled him.
Well, there might be a little more consequence to any kind of contact at the speed he moves. Daniel James. To help a club make amends for a relegation he was no part of. Kickoff cool. And still unhappy with that earlier decision. Significant part in the machine for West Brom. Tireless midfield presence. I'm not going to tire of watching Archie Gray quickly.
He just slightly pulled up there as he played that ball around the corner.
Yes, he's moving less than freely at the moment, which is going to be a real shame if he can't shake it off. Here's Ampadu. Shackleton making a run from out to in, creating a lot of room for Ayling to operate in. Here is Shackleton trying to work the shooting opportunity. Oh, the deflection off 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Doesn't cannon quite as kindly as Leeds would have liked. But West Bromwich Albion hugely relieved.
As soon as Shackleton got on the ball and turned, faced the West Brom goal, I was thinking, you have to shoot, just put your laces through it. Anything can happen. Comes off 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. They're so fortunate, West Brom, but in that pocket of space, Shackleton there was affording far too much space.
𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 doubly relieved the fact that it hit the post, having come off him. Shackleton shooting.
Yeah, with Ayling providing the width, Shackleton drifts infield into space. Once it gets away from 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, why not take the shot on? So unfortunate it's not giving Leeds the lead.
James's corner is a useful one. It was 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 came in at the back post. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 trying to skip away.
Well, West Brom had their problems from set pieces against Swansea, and you've got a big centre-half coming up. He surely shouldn't be able just to catch this ball with his foot at the far post. If he heads it, that's one thing, but it shouldn't be dropping to a centre-half in that position. Far too easy for him to get away from. I think it was Swift that was charged with staying with him, and he let him run.
You sense there is a little bit of a soft centre in that respect. All 5 goals eventually came from dead ball situations a week ago at the Hawthorns, which you don't see every day.
Well, closing in on half an hour played, and West Brom will be relatively pleased with the way it's gone so far, though. It has been more threat from Leeds, pretty similar in terms of possession, but it's about, can you get that ball into the most dangerous area, can you create opportunities, work goalkeepers. Going back to that save from Alex Palmer, really has put the score at 0-0, but the crowd has gone a little bit quiet, so it's up to Leeds, their players, just to lift them again.
Well, it has been known that it works in the opposite way, and it's the Leeds supporters who inspire, as we've seen on many an occasion. In right in the middle of the field at the moment. Effectively leaving Ayling to it on this right flank for that one-on-one battle that looks to be a very intriguing one.
Well, the brave in possession, Leeds. They just leave their 2 centre-halves, and all the other players step into the opponent's half. It's vitally important then for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 not to give the ball away cheaply.
Well, Ampadu's pocket pick there by 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Shackleton with that trademark scamper, doing his utmost to win it back. Always such an energetic presence. Oh, and Malumbi, who wasn't booked for a deliberate handball a few moments ago, certainly will be now.
Well, he has no idea that Dan James is behind him, closing him down. Doesn't get a shout from anybody. His first touch is poor as well. I think he's blaming 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 for the pass, but that touch, once it gets away from him, he's in big trouble. And it's not the greatest of passes, is it? But that touch is really poor. Should be given a shout if just lay the ball off to Kipré.
I think it's the point he's making. Potentially there 2 bookable offences for Jason Malumbi. Certainly a point to discuss. Rutter pulling out to that flank. Shackleton making a useful run in there, and Ayling's arriving too. And everybody left it to each other.
I was presuming there was a shout from Palmer to Peters to leave that, seemingly. There wasn't, because Peters turns around and berates his goalkeeper, saying, let me know. But Peters seemed to have got his bearings, realised where the danger was, and could safely duck underneath the ball. Well, if Ayling had maybe taken a chance, got right on the shoulder of Matt Phillips, could have been more of a problem for West Brom.
Well, no harm done, I suppose. It's good work here by Shackleton, but 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 has a way out. Does Kipré. Shackleton again. It's like a one-man swarm. It's James. And Ayling coming in. Oh, and 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 couldn't quite readjust.
Well, the way that West Brom want to play with Malumbi and 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 in those central areas, they've got to sharpen up. They've got to be quicker. They're too laboured in possession, the pair of them. They keep getting caught on the ball. Well, the press will be there from Leeds, so those 2 central players, you can't be slow in possession. Can't think I'm going to take 3 or 4 touches and take as long as I need. You can't. Got to play quicker. Ayling does the right thing, knocking that ball back across the 6-yard box, but 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 is actually on his heels on the stretch. Never going to get a good contact on that.
Well, they've hit the post. They forced the goalkeeper into a sharp save with a deflected effort. They've had that moment. Some encouraging attacking moments. They certainly looked a long way from their potential best at St Andrews last week.
Well, Melier has been a spectator so far, but for Daniel Farke, he'll be pleased with what he's seen in terms of the press, the intensity. They've created opportunities, they've looked more threatening. They just need a goal just to back up all that good work.
Strauch, Thomas Asante there, Gray under pressure. Roden provided a road for him. Shackleton non-stop.
I'm just wondering whether Jason Malumbi's a lucky boy to still be on the pitch. He was booked for this, it's pretty clear, but it was also earlier, before that, the ball just clipped past him and he stuck out a left arm, and to me, intentionally, handballed it. And I don't understand why he wasn't yellow carded for that.
Here's 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. We've seen it earlier in the programme. West Bromwich Albion not won the last 12 visits to Ellen Road, 2007. Tony Mowbray in the West Brom dugout, Dennis Wise in charge of Leeds. Furlong overcooked that.
Well, just preceding that poor cross is better, sharper play from 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷. Ball played into him, first touch, he zips it into the feet of Thomas Asante, and West Brom are away. So that's what he needs to do. Realise he's going to get closed down. He's got away with it on a couple of occasions. Sharpen your game.
Vocal support as ever, and pretty vocal about those who suggested they no longer want to play for the football club as well. Understandably, it is a great privilege to wear the white shirt of Leeds United. Not bestowed on too many. This is 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. This is Shackleton. Gray. This is Furlong. Little pockets of potential so far from West Brom, but the traffic heading largely in one direction.
The best opportunity was the one with Matt Phillips down the left-hand side, that cross that he just slightly overhit. Thomas Asante couldn't quite reach it. And surely they will improve in an attacking sense, West Brom, the longer the game goes on.
Something akin to 5-3-2 for West Brom tonight, which Carlos Corberan has talked about as one of his main settings. 5-4-1, 4-4-2 and 4-4-1-1 all on the table. It's enough for now. This is Phillips. Oh, and Furlong coming in. Well, there, another glimmer.
Well, Joe Gelhardt was doing his best to stay with Furlong. Didn't manage to do it. A firm side foot on this, and it could be a wing-back to wing-back goal. Brilliant work from Matt Phillips. Ayling goes to ground far too easily. It's a brilliant cross. Keeper can't come and deal with it. Furlong looks as if he's going to make clean contact with it. I don't know what happens right at the death, whether he just takes his eyes off it, but a solid side foot on that, back across goal. It's 1-0 West Brom. But that's what you want from your wing-back stand. One providing, the other has to get in. at the far post is what I was always taught. It's hard work, you've got to cover a lot of ground, but Furlong did really well. He'd be disappointed he's not made a firmer contact on the cross.
Oh, the goal-scoring touch that his dad certainly possessed deserted him there. Joe Roden on the receiving end here.
Just stepping out of the back line. Oh, Kipre clearly playing the ball, and it's just a follow-through that catches him. There's no malicious intent there from Kipre.
It's one of them, isn't it?
You see by the reaction of the players, they know, whether it's a poor challenge or not. He's played the ball, and yes, it's painful for Roden, but he's not trying to injure him.
Swift. James. Shackleton. Ayling. It's got help from 𝓤𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. James coming over to this way. Policed by Phillips. There's plenty of full-back, wing-back history. He will take all this very much in his stride. Happy to be able to make significant strides on the field, given his season ended early because of a quad injury that needed surgery in January. Ayling, and he'll get it back. Exactly textbook from 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, but he won the ball.
Playing as a lone striker, it's never an easy role in this game. It has been a bit of a struggle for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 and for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓰 to get on the ball, to get involved. The centre halves are making it very difficult for them. One team playing with a pair, the other playing with a trio at the back. They've just got to keep going, keep believing an opportunity will come along for them.
James, Ampadu. There's too many obstacles in the way for Daniel James. Referee feeling that he didn't take on the challenge and just went to ground.
Well, normally for dangerous, quick players, you double up, but West Brom there quadrupled up on Dan James as he looked to break forward with the ball.
It would be fair to say they've pegged him as a bit of a threat.
It's so important because Furlong's been booked that Ajayi gets across, and at least there's two of them there to try and deal with that threat.
He has more often than not just funneled across. And sometimes Furlong has actually dipped into the centre-back position to avoid that threatening confrontation. So we'll head into the potentially final 5 minutes of the first half here at Ellen Road. On by Byram, but there's 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰.
It's fair to say it's been a mixed bag of a game for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 so far.
Very apposite choice of phrase, Andrew. This is Ampadu. Ayling's in there, that's it. They've done well to reach him.
The idea was right, but really impressed with Matt Phillips to trapped him all the way back in. He was goal side of him. Even if the pass had gone over Peters' head, Phillips would have been there to deal with it.
Ampadu. Roden. Ayling deciding to check. Shackleton moved into a more approximately right-sided position. It's ahead of Shemi Ajayi. I know Carlos Corberan feels as a player that's benefited from the switch to a 3, given that's more of what he's used to. Well, we're in the north tonight, but way on down south. Tomorrow lunchtime, the battle of 2 nautical outposts. Plymouth against Southampton from midday. And there's action on Sunday as well. High noon at Carrow Road, Norwich up against Millwall. And there's a few out there tonight who will have plenty of interest in the outcome of that one. Farke, Jed Wallace, Sam Byram, to name the ones that instantly come to mind. Here's Jay. Furlong. The question is, did he stay onside? The verdict is yes. And that was my initial instinct.
Playing as a wing-back, you've got an awful lot of ground to cover, but he timed that forward run to perfection. Once again, Sam Byram, left-back, has to appreciate that run that Furlong makes if James hasn't tracked him.
There's only the weapons here to ask a question. Jai scored against Swansea. He's also got a couple of goals against Leeds in his time. Swift ready to deliver. And it was 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 who got there pretty emphatically. Spread by Peters. Swift again. James on the defensive. Didn't complete the job because he didn't go out. It's Malumbi. Tussle with Shackleton. Any tussle with him takes him winning. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. This is 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. Ayling flying up this near side to get involved.
Well, he had to go back because he had no support. The break was brilliant. There's no white shirt ahead of him to play a forward pass to.
The problem that Leeds have at the moment is the numbers game in general, with the absentees for various reasons. Proved the case there as well, but prodded by 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 to Byram. And painful landing for a couple in there. James came off worse than Furlong, who also made brief acquaintance with the Ellen Road turf.
Well, Dan James has had the best opportunity in this first half. Leeds have carried more of an attacking threat. For Alex Palmer, this would be a good save if there wasn't a deflection. Because there was, it makes even a harder save for him to make. He's moving across his goal line as well, so his positioning's good, but his reactions, that left hand comes out so quickly. Brilliant stop.
Rather old school, 1 added minute at the end of the first half. Measly.
How many times this season do you think we're going to see 1 minute go up? Not too many.
Wallace. Swift making a break. Gap plugged by Archie Gray. Well, a half of Nearly's at Ellen Road. Dan James warming the hands of an athletic Alex Palmer, with a deflection not helping the goalkeeper's cause. A very fine save indeed, but he could do nothing about the effort from Jamie Shackleton that cannoned onto the post via 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Leeds carrying the greater threat. Pockets of potential for West Bromwich Albion. Half-time at Ellen Road. It's goalless.
Goalless at the break at Ellen Road. Joby, Hal and Jermaine all alongside me. Joby, it felt like Leeds were the stronger side in that first half. Could they have done better with some of their chances, do you feel?
I think maybe one or two. I think overall they'll be happy with the level of performance. Again, it's that issue that has been plaguing them for a long time in terms of these opportunities. Sam Byram does brilliant here. Lovely little run inside and then gets himself checked back onto his right foot and just can't quite find the whip that he needs just to bring it into that far post. But certainly a warning sign. I thought, as I say, Leeds typified this example here. Front foot, aggressive.
Yeah, precisely. You know, they dominated that game within that final third, and this is another chance. It could have easily have gone, you know, the other way. You know, the keeper's made a kick. Palmsley's dived to the left. Really good reaction, but actually, you know, the chances that they've had, Leeds have certainly earned.
Yeah, I think this instance in particular is very unfortunate. Great strike, nice and clean, struck through the ball, but the deflection just takes it away from the goalkeeper. Fortunately, it ricochets off the post. Fortunately for West Brom, it ricochets off the post and comes back into play, into safety. But I would argue that Leeds should do better in one or two of those instances.
OK, West Brom's chances have been limited, but one big talking point, How, was Jason Molumby. Now, in the space of 6.5 minutes, he was involved in 3 bits of arguably foul play that could have resulted in yellow cards. The first, we'll see here, is a deliberate handball, and then we see a barge on Dan James, and then he is eventually booked. What did you make of the way this played out?
Yeah, I think from a Leeds perspective, you know, you're going to be frustrated in this moment in time because, you know, fundamentally he's made 3 challenges there, 3 incidents where he could have easily picked up a yellow card for each of them, and that there, you know, it's an arm in the face. We've seen that given as a yellow card. But ultimately, this third opportunity, Leeds are on the ascendancy there. They're breaking into play. And actually, because he's not had a yellow card before, he's been able to make that foul. From a West Brom perspective, you know, you have to come to this stadium and you have to do things like that at times. You know, although it's frustrating and it's, you know, it's not always sportsmanship, you're breaking up the game and you're making sure that it's not easy for Leeds as a home team to get the momentum. And they've clearly had the momentum throughout the course of the game. So ultimately, from West Brom's perspective, they need to dig deep and try and get a foothold in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Molumby now treading a fine line and is finally poised at half-time, goalless at Ellen Road. And the Ellen Road faithful certainly making their voices heard. Lots of big tackles and quite a few chances as well for Leeds. None for West Brom yet. Second half to come next. FedEx playoffs continue. BMW Championship Day 2 is on Sky Sports Golf right now with Rory McIlroy tied third, 3 shots off the lead. Harry Kane is making his Bundesliga debut for Bayern Munich against Werder Bremen. Right now on Sky Sports Action, you can see that. He's already got an assist. And life continues for Tottenham without Harry Kane. They take on Manchester United in your Saturday night football tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Sky Sports Premier League. Two managers on the sideline that know this league so well, Daniel Farke and Carlos Corberan, certainly giving it their all on the touchline. But what will come in the second half? It's goalless between Leeds and West Brom, with all to play for. The second half is live next.
The season
Okay, Joby, West Brom actually haven't managed a shot yet on goal, let alone on target. Where do you see their threat coming from? More like this in the second half?
Yeah, certainly. I think certainly in those transitions, fast breaks, a good ball into the box there from Matt Phillips, just a little bit too far in front of Thomas Santi. And I think it's a problem for West Brom that they do face at the moment in terms of not having a natural striker to get into these types of positions when balls are coming into the box. Again, Matt Phillips, brilliant. Little body swerve, I suppose. Luke Ayling goes flying.
Straight line.
No, I liked it. And then you've got Darnell Furlong getting on the end of things again. For me, I think, you know, you want a John Swift, you know, certainly to be getting on the end of those. Jed Wallace as well, just committing a few more bodies into the box when they are getting crosses in.
For Leeds, Jermaine, what do they need to do in this second half? Because they have had sights of goal. They've hit the post, but it's been frustrating, isn't it?
It has. I would like to see more of the same, but just be a little bit more ruthless in the final third. So pass the final pass a little bit snappier, try and get a shot off on target a little bit earlier as well. Apart from that, possession-wise, it's been a pretty good game.
How does the Leeds sort of fans respond to what they're seeing on the pitch now? Because it is a difficult time for the club, as we discussed before the game, but how's that translating to the players on the pitch? Because so far, they're right behind them.
Yeah, they are. You know, we said it before the game. You know, support from Leeds fans is second to none. You know, they've been relegated, and you know, home game, and they're all turning out in their masses. So, I think from their perspective, they'll be pleased with what they're seeing. But from West Brom's perspective, I think, you know, given that they haven't really had a foothold in the game, they're still very much in the game. And if they are able to get a goal, you know, they just need one chance. It will change the game on its head. So, yeah, it's going to be a really important second half, and the start to the second half will be key.
7 subs on the Leeds bench, Joby, that's all. 2 of them goalkeepers. Where do you go for depth in that squad right now? Who are you looking to change things? Because Jermaine's sort of got a rueful smile on his face, but what do you think?
Yeah, listen, not a lot of attacking options clearly there. You know, I think Sam Greenwood is one, obviously, that could come on and have an impact. I think they need a little bit more, like Jermaine said, just in terms of creating clearer cut opportunities, Michelle. At the moment, we spoke about the crowd. They are staying with this team, but we know that doesn't last for too long here, and they're going to need to get a goal and get a result to get their season really up and running.
OK, let's see what happens and get back to Andy Hinchcliffe and first, Daniel Mann.
Thank you, Michelle. Well, Leeds certainly showing plenty of commitment. Whether they're at their fullest in confidence terms is a question we can only offer. Get into their heads, but they could probably do with a dollop or two of it. The old chicken and egg question. Promise. Can they deliver upon it in the second half? A forceful challenge by Malumbi, who, if that's anything to go by, is not going to keep his powder dry despite being on a yellow card.
Yeah, that was a challenge, a ball he was always going to win, but he's got to be so careful. He is an aggressive player, combative. Having been booked, he got away really, in my opinion, with that intentional handball. He's going to make the most of the opportunity that he's got.
Changes tonight for Leeds. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 might get there. There's a touch of hesitation, it seemed, for Meslier, but he got there in the end. And that's what counts.
I think that opportunity came from again. Play with the back three, is a bit more comfortable playing out from the back. It was a ball into midfield, then round the back of the Leeds defence, and 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 was very nearly in. Meslier did well to read the danger.
Gelhardt picked up the scraps and has fed James, who is offside.
When you play with three centre-halves, you're in possession. It's a bit more comfortable, a bit easy to stretch Leeds and play through them. It's an excellent forward ball. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 has done his best to get in behind Rodon there, but it's all about the goalkeeper's reading of the danger.
Terrific season last year.
Well, West Brom will be happy they haven't conceded, but going forward they've been toothless. That has to change. We need more from 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. We need more from Swift. Jed Wallace has been pretty much anonymous. That's a real surprise. Will they provide more attacking quality this half? They need to win the game.
Oh, that's been a thorn in Leeds' side in the past. Seems ultimately that it's going to be a free kick to West Brom at the end of all that. For offside, I think, but when the player picked up possession, he'd actually dropped back in his own half, hence the slight hubbub of confusion around Elland Road. It's a change in the law that a free kick for offside can be given in the team's own half as of the summer of 2016, to date it as precisely as I can. I did ring it in my calendar way back when, but pertinent point for the award of the free kick is the position when the offside player touches the ball these days, rather than the actual offside position. Just to be as clear as I can. This is Jay. Peters with a slightly faulty touch just lured Shackleton in.
Oh, it's not a great pass from Ajayi. You've crossed the pitch, it's a looping ball as well. Your first touch isn't right. Peters wasn't. He was fortunate maybe to get away with that, with Shackleton bearing down on him.
Relatively new convert to centre-back. I mean, it's something that's been a part of his career here and there, but it's really his first lengthy spell as a centre-back, Eric Peters. A little bit at Stoke, a bit at Utrecht. Strauch, who'll probably be more familiar with Utrecht than most here tonight. Is Rodon. Oof, that was potential trouble, which they managed to negotiate there.
Both teams have had their problems when they just jab the ball into those central midfield areas.
Well, someone would just never get used to this risk element. And it was risky, and it could be punished. It's 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 and Wallace! Wonderful save by Meslier. Absolutely vital touch. Jed Wallace, though, has finally arrived.
Yeah, Leeds come unstuck, trying to play out from the back. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰, brilliant little ball around the corner. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰, the angle's against him. He's never going to shoot. He's always looking for a teammate. Brilliant run off the ball from Jed Wallace. He's beyond the near post. He does well to keep that on target. Anyway, he's been pretty much a spectator throughout the game, but that is a magnificent fingertip.
was quite the crowd scene. 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 emphatic. Back in there by Peters. This time it's 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. A little bit of sustained pressure here. This is Wallace. To get into a crossing position. The head of Byram, approximately at least, turning it behind for a corner.
Well, now the goalkeeper's been overworked, but Palmer and Meslier have produced a brilliant stop each.
High-class goalkeeping at either end, at the same end, if you see what I mean. Swift, not what he would have hoped for, but it may still work out. Malumbi through the crowd and in! Well, the player who might, on another night, not have made it this far, has by hook or by crook smuggled a lead for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, how many times do you see this where players are maybe fortunate to still be on the pitch and they come up with an all-important goal? It's just afforded far too much space in the penalty. It's a poor ball in, but he shouldn't be able to take a touch and then get a shot in. Does it maybe come off Thomas Asante as well? It's a little too easy for him to take a touch. He's not really closed down. He does seem to strike his hand. And mightily fortunate West Brom to get away with this. But that's a bit too easy. It's a poor touch, ball's up in the air. You know, 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 has got to launch himself bodily at Malumbi there. And then he can't get a shot in. If he doesn't get a shot in, it doesn't go in. Simple as that. It's a bit too easy, the way that opening goal has come about.
Well, off the arm of Brandon Thomas Asante, and no doubt Leeds United have to be aggrieved about that. Yet again, they are behind. They came back to win against Shrewsbury in the League Cup. They came back late on to draw against Cardiff City on opening day. They lost the game against Birmingham City. Loud and rightly into the night that it is a goal that should not stand, but it does stand, and they simply have to pick up the pieces. He has been credited with the goal. It's extraordinary that he can be for a handball, but there you go. Phillips.
The feel for Meslier. He made that brilliant save from Jed Wallace, and then he's beaten by a deflection of the hand, which, if we had VAR, wouldn't count.
Well, clearly it was beyond the perception of the officials, because if they'd have seen that, they'd have ruled it out.
Again, I look at those Leeds players. They have the opportunity to close down Malumbi quicker. They don't. If it's a touch and the ball is close, it stays on the ground, harder to close him down. The ball is lifted up, it's there to be attacked, and they don't do it.
Shackleton booked.
The Leeds have got to be careful here, they're going to get frustrated. Just gets there slightly late, Shackleton. But if West Brom are able to get their foot on the ball, they've got the lead, they can start to frustrate the crowd, the Leeds team, and those Leeds players really have to keep their heads.
Phillips. Away by Byram. Well, Leeds have got to dust themselves down. And it's an extraordinary sequence for the goalkeeper. Magnificent when he could do something about it. Yellow card for Phillips. utterly helpless by what unfolded.
You have to feel for the Leeds goalkeeper, because once Jed Wallace comes across the near post, flicks this on, it could go anywhere, but Meslier is in a position to go anywhere to make the save, which he does brilliantly, but he can do nothing about this. Just don't think 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 does enough. He doesn't throw himself bodily at Malumbi, so that ball is able to travel towards the Leeds goal. Once he gets a touch, there's no way he can readjust there, Meslier, and keep it out.
Well, I'm presuming Ayling's got a toe on the line there, because otherwise you've also got a question of offside. If he's stepped behind the line, he's then discounted as offside purposes. It's Gray. Byron.
Leeds in that first half were the better team, created the better opportunities, but how important now is that save from Alex Palmer? The shot from Dan James deflected, brilliant left-handed save, kept his team in it. A huge amount of good fortune to now take the lead.
Ayling the target here. Swift. Phillips. Malumbi. James back defending. John Swift just helping himself back up. Ruta hoping to get through. Palmer reading the situation.
Yeah, he looked offside actually. Good defensive line that West Brom are holding there. Clearly done a lot of work to stay in line. No one had dropped off to play 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 on.
Well, there is a debate here whether Ayling's on the pitch when Malumbi takes the shot. Let's just clarify this situation. He is just about. The point being, if he'd strayed behind the line when the shot was taken, there's an offside shout there as well as a handball.
So his right foot on the line is a crucial element of his positioning. As the shot is taken, his foot is on the line.
This is 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. So it's not quite the most illegal goal of all time. Gray made the challenge on 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰, which has upset more than one or two.
Well, he seemed to read the danger, but in real time it looked as if he got there slightly late. Good run off the ball from 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰. He doesn't play the ball, does he? 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 gets a touch on that. Gray seems to take him out. I think he's very fortunate to get away with that. In my eyes, that's a penalty.
Well, fortunes are certainly not smiling on Farke and co. Daniel James booked for his part in the protests. But protests, the howling protests from spectator and player, understandable. Booked for dissent, and now hoping to focus fully on the present and a quality delivery here for Leeds, who need to get back on the comeback trail. This is Shackleton. Good feet by Gray. Lots of commentators have said that here down the years. Familiar name, but a different and exciting young face. This is Shackleton. Ayling. Oh, coming in around the back. Oh! And James was in there and couldn't take advantage of it. Byram was free as a bird on the back post.
Yeah, it does. It comes over a couple of players. It's a good run. He's run off the back of Furlong. Ajayi has no idea where he is. He's definitely onside. He just can't sort his body out to turn it goalwards. Any kind of goalward touch there, and it's one apiece. A great position. Harder to miss than score. Maybe he doesn't see it so late as it skims over the head of Kipre and can't tuck it home.
Well, neither really got the contact they were looking for there. Well, it never rains, but it pours for Daniel Farke. Off-field troubles, on-field misfortune. Ampadu. And he's got a free kick.
There's been a good response from Leeds to going behind. They're on the front foot. The crowd are getting behind them. They've got to keep this intensity, this tempo up. Keep putting pressure on that West Brom defence, which I'm sure is going to sit deeper and deeper the longer the half goes on.
Well, there is a confident young man who wants to say.
The distance out is good in terms of being able to get the ball up and over the wall, but you've got to get the power as well as the precision with this.
It's Gelhardt with his preferred left foot, or Archie Gray. Gelhardt into the wall. Ayling. Gray. Strauch. Shackleton wants it on the far side, but here's Ampadu. Thomas Asante. Wallace after this, the race on, but Strauch had a head start. This is James. Beckoning them on in the 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 stand. Byram. Roden. Shackleton. Really going at them, Jamie Shackleton. But mopped up there by Swift. Strauch. Rutter. James, Gelhardt. James. Oh, an open goal! Oh, Alex Palmer with another wonderful save.
Well, the athleticism is extraordinary, but he reads what Dan James is looking to do here, the goalkeeper. Now he's moving across his line into a position to make the save. You see he's moving his feet first. So important he does that. That enables him with a great reach to get fingertips to it. Another sensational stop. See, the goalkeeper's anticipating. He's on his toes. He's ready to make a save. That's one of the saves of the season.
Well, it's over 20 years since a West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper kept a clean sheet against Leeds United. He's doing his utmost to achieve that feat. Russell Holt, the Leicester manager.
Yeah, the save in the first half was down low. That one up in the top corner. Brilliant saves. As a goalkeeper, you have to try and look at an attacker's body language, see what he's maybe looking to do here. When James just opens his body up, he's maybe thinking he's going to try and pick out that top corner. So I've got to be ready, I've got to be on the move my feet to get across. And he takes 2-3 really important steps. That enables him to get his fingertips to it. James does everything right. Under normal circumstances, you took that in the top corner, you celebrate, but that is just a wonderful save.
Well, he's up and back into the fray as West Bromwich Albion prepare to make a change. It's not going to happen, is it, before this corner comes in? Jeremy Sarmiento. Kipray's head. Man in the spotlight. Gray. Shackleton back to Strauch. Very detailed briefing from Carlos Corberan to Jeremy Sarmiento just down below us. Swift, who understand is about to leave us. He was down a little earlier. West Brom's formation taking up a very 5-4-1 look. You might always call it 9-1 at the moment. Ampadu, forceful but clean by 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Well, Ampadu has remained down, licking his wounds. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 is not going to get the measure of 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Well, Jeremy Sarmiento, acquired on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion. That's the market that West Brom are in. Replaces John Swift. His injury troubles. Sarmiento had only been back in training at Brighton a week before he made the move to the Midlands. Albion to Albion. Here's Strauch. First little signs of impatience from the Leeds supporters, wanting to get that ball forward, and then when they're obliged, the outcome is not to their taste. Well, what about the outcome here involving Cedric Kipray and Gelhardt?
Well, first viewing, I definitely thought it was a penalty. I just wonder whether Gelhardt just touches it onto Kipray's foot. And that's maybe what saves him, because he reads the danger. He's slightly late, he probably thinks he's going to get there really easily, but it does just touch his foot, and that's maybe just saved the day. If the referee spotted that, he's done incredibly well, because it looked as if he just took Gelhardt out.
Eric Peters taking time. And you can't do that without further punishment. And he's got to watch his step. James to steal it. All he can see is a forest of navy and red shirts. Rather pleasing thud as the ball landed on the roof just above us. Well, Dan James has carried the biggest threat going forward for Leeds, so it's no surprise every time he's in possession there's 3 or 4 West Brom players around him. Such tight space, has worked its way to James. Ayling's arriving, Ayling is there! A captain's goal for Leeds United! And they're on the comeback trail again. Well, so unfortunate to be behind. The circumstances of the goal, they conceded highly dubious, but a crucial equaliser here.
Well, it's no more than they deserve. The reaction to going behind has been sensational, but Eric Peters, you've got to get off the ground. You've got to protect the ball, you've got to stick an arm out. Too easy for Luke Ayling to make that run. Phillips should be screaming at Peters to say, I can't track him, he's on his way. Peters has to get off the ground. You can see he's caught on his heels, he's waiting for the ball to hit him on the head. Ayling's on the move. It's a brilliant glancing header, and as I say, Leeds deserve to be back in it.
Might be more here, Shackleton. Peters in the way.
I'm sure Peters will say, look to Matt Phillips, well, he's your man. You know, it's wing-back against wing-back, but, or full-back pushing forward against wing-back, but if he runs into your area and you can see him, you've got to deal with it.
Gelhardt's done brilliantly. Palmer's there again. Well, when he's had even the faintest possibility of getting there, he has got there, the West Brom goalkeeper. The clean sheet has gone west, but he was up to the task here.
Got to give Leeds a huge amount of credit. I was here for the Cardiff game. They showed incredible resilience, character to come back. Crowd got behind them. They were under pressure, conceding that goal. They'd have been disappointed by the way the goal was scored, but they reacted brilliantly and they scored an excellent goal. The first time Ayling's really got involved in the game.
James. Byram had made an offer outside him, but this is Strauch, and now Roden. Well, at Ellen Road at least, when they fall behind, they just keep coming back. James. Malumbi shut the door, and he has to time every challenge absolutely perfectly.
Credit Leeds, they're forcing West Brom to sit deeper and deeper on the edge of their own box. There's no way out. They can't get the ball up to Thomas Asante to relieve the pressure they're under.
And Albion seeking to make a double change in the very near future. Josh Madger and Connor Townsend, who remarkably has started all but 6 of West Brom's last 112 league matches, including tonight. Very unfamiliar role for him as a substitute. And they want to get on with it, West Brom, and make these changes. So Eric Peters, culpable in Leeds equaliser, replaced.
You know, when a cross comes in like that as a centre-half, you've got to again stick an arm out, stop an attacker, or Ayling getting to the ball and get off the ground. If you just jump there, challenge for the ball, but get off the ground, virtually impossible then for Ayling to get his head on it. If you stand still, caught on your heels, pay a heavy price.
Townsend on, Thomas Asante. Not quite the hand of God.
Oh, I knew absolutely nothing about it. Again, as a striker, doesn't matter how the goals come about, you'll take them.
Josh Madger. Manchester City youngster, Crystal Palace and Fulham too, but most noted in this country for his spell at Sunderland and Fulham and Stoke more recently on loan. He had a very fine season with Girondins de Bordeaux in the French second tier. Swap wine country for the black country, full of desire to work with Carlos Corberan.
Of course, they want Magic to score the winning goal, but it's so important this phase of the game that he just gets hold of the ball, he relieves some of the pressure. And the ball is played up to him. Can he be strong and protect the ball, get his team up the pitch?
Dominance since conceding. James cross. Ayling's arriving again.
But look at the difference there. Connor Townsend, what did he do? Got off the ground. His goal side, he had a look, saw where Ayling was angling his run. But most importantly, he jumped.
Showed the same desire as Ayling did in attacking the ball earlier. Byron. Managed to get it across, and it was not dealt with conviction by Ajayi. Stroud.
Not sure why Madrid's running away from his teammates there. Just get your backside into a centre-half, let the ball be played into you, get a foul, but secure the ball.
Ampadu. Ayling. Kipre up with 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Byron, waves of white now, lapping against the shore. James, Shackleton. Madger, now he does get hold of it and draws a foul, and that's exactly what he is there to do first and foremost at the moment.
It's painful for him, but again, just draw a foul. You can just take the sting out of the game, you can move up the pitch and take a breath. Your strikers coming on, they want to be in a penalty area, scoring goals, getting the glory, but he has a hugely important role to play in his own half, and that's securing possession, getting fouls, helping his team out.
And Pascal Struijk, on the occasion of his 100th Leeds United appearance, gets a card to celebrate.
Brom just don't seem to know what they're doing here. Ajayi there just drilling the ball straight out of play. Just you've been starved of the ball. Just play a simple pass up the pitch and keep it for a few passes.
There's some fresh legs to press them in the back line. Gelhardt and Ajayi together this time. Well, he's got a bunch with plenty of character, as they've demonstrated possibly all too often this season. Being in the recovery business. When they've had the time to recover, they have recovered. Madger felt he was fouled. He was looking round, hopefully, slightly forlornly, until his prayers were answered by the whistle.
Yeah, it could be painful for Josh Madger the last 10-15 minutes maybe, but again, he's got to keep putting his body in the way of defenders and getting fouled. It's really helping the team out.
Go on, son, get on there and get kicked for me for about 15 minutes.
Playing as a striker, it's not all about the glory, scoring goals, getting hooks.
It's not my idea of fun night out, I have to say.
Of course it isn't. It's not, ideal for any striker, is it? But you've got to play a role. What the team needs is more important.
Byron. So the final few minutes, potentially, final 10 plus stoppages. The starting 11 continue to forage here for Leeds United. It just emphasises the point how bereft of available depth they are.
Yeah, but I did like Daniel Farke's attitude in that pre-match interview. He said there's no excuses. OK, we're lacking a few players, but we've still got enough quality on the pitch with the starting 11 and on the bench to win this game.
And one thing he did say, I mean, it's a hard life, isn't it? Only 7 substitutes, but he did say it's the wrong sign just to pick people to fill spots on the bench. Either you're performing well enough, you're good enough, or you're not. I'm not going to pick 20 players for the sake of it. But he is going to use one who has made a happy return to the squad tonight, Sam Greenwood. Foot injury in pre-season. So at least there will be some injection of freshness. But the concentration now on a West Bromwich Albion set piece. And the potential of a Matt Phillips delivery, which is often high, but not on this occasion. James. Ooh, Wallace. I don't think he minded what he got there with that challenge, in all honesty. Well, Daniel James wears bruises as compliments. It's also a compliment that someone can keep up with him to kick him. Now to play by Kipre. Greenwood on. Joe Gelhardt. Claims for a penalty were certainly strong, being replaced by Greenwood.
Yeah, Joe Gelhardt was his energetic self. He did look a lot more comfortable playing in that pocket of space rather than leading the line.
He was kind of forced into a #9 role, if you like, at Sunderland last season. He shouldered a lot of responsibility, and he's also in quite a lot of pain in that area. Apparently. Well, it just ran away from Archie Gray.
Connor Townsend did well to track Gray's forward run there, stayed shoulder to shoulder with him. That enabled him just to get a toe on the ball.
Strauch. Donning the armband tonight with Liam Cooper among those stricken. Certainly shouldering that responsibility well. James scrapping brilliantly. Greenwood. Hooking for 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, who is the last of the quartet across the middle to have escaped punishment tonight.
Yeah, just runs in between two West Brom players who both launch in to try and win the ball. Neither got there.
Confirmed the booking for the Turk. Further West Brom changes. Jed Wallace, who produced that marvellous save from Illan Meslier, is going to be replaced by 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, who is a man of many talents, but Carlos Corberan sees him as a number 10 this season. Defensively, an area where some maturing is still required. Nathaniel Chalobah also coming on, and it looks like 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 is going to be the man replaced by him.
It seems pretty clear that Corberan's just looking to stiffen up that midfield area. The severe pressure, they've been overrun for most of this second half. And being on Gardner-Hickman and 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 should give them fresh legs and a bit more aggression in that area of the pitch.
Are they at least going to take something away from his return trip to Elland Road? They're without a win in 5 matches against Leeds United, so that would be a good return if you take the history into account. Greenwood. This time it was Joe Rodon in net.
These wide free kicks, when you whip them in towards goal, all you're looking to do as an attacker is just flick the ball on. He gets too much head on that, Rodon.
Certainly have an interest, Joe Rodon, in our Saturday night football. Tottenham against Manchester United, a fixture of rich Cavalier traditions. Let's see what we've got in store for you tomorrow night. Villa against Everton, the most played top-flight fixture. You probably know that statistic off by heart by now. And 1 o'clock, West Ham against Chelsea, complete Super Sunday. And we stay in the capital. South against North, Crystal Palace against Arsenal. That's our Monday night match. Greenwood trying to get away, he didn't succeed in that, but he's putting himself about a bit. Just incurred the referee's displeasure, Matt Donoghue. Going up against 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Phillips. Furlong lifts it in there. 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 was in there, it broke to Gray. Well, the clock ticks round, and we now enter the 90th minute. Good rally. Impressive rally by Daniel Farke's team. This one just foraging here, and who knows, could they dig something out right at the end? It's Sarmiento. Well, but in the way was Gray. Major, the flag goes up.
Well, when you consider how this game has gone, it's fair to say that the very least that Leeds deserve is a point. More of the ball, more of the threat. Alex Palmer's made more saves than Meslier. So I think he'll be disappointed come the end if it finishes 1-1.
The board may well give solace. Doughty, fine official, tells us there will be a minimum of 7 added minutes. Quicker, he says, and suggesting that Brain needs to be better engaged. Now it's that nail-biting time.
How many games into the season are we?
Do you want the actual answer? No.
I was waiting for it, yeah.
This is.
I do know the answer, by the way.
Go on then.
I'll just leave it with you.
slightly pointless exchange. It's Furlong who will take the throw. Oh, flicked on by Ajayi. Spotting an infringement. It's just lost its energy a little, and maybe you can moving ball. Maybe you can understand the fact that it has dropped a little bit from Leeds' point of view. Been able to use, or only opted to use, one substitute. He'll be frustrated because although Darnell Furlong does not use the long throw this time, they've had opportunities to get that ball into the box, and there's another swiftly on the way, and that's the cue for Ajayi and Kipre to make their way forward.
So important, 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 switched on here as Kipre Ajayi step forward.
Many numbers hanging back outside the box. Furlong's throw is a good weapon. Townsend taking charge. Ajayi. This time Furlong caught right on the touchline.
Yeah, it's 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 who just clatters into him, but 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰 is working his way back to full fitness. He's really struggled to get involved in the game.
They lost Jan Poveda to a minor injury. He'll be back swiftly enough, I gather. Would have possibly tipped the balance in 𝓳𝓸𝓷𝓷𝓷𝓰's favour as far as a starting berth is concerned. Interesting to know if all things had been equal and wouldn't Leeds. Well, it's been a bit more entertaining than that, Jan, I have to say.
Absolutely enthralled.
Yawning with his hood up amidst the rain.
It is 5-10. It's quite late in his defence.
He's trying to search desperately for an adjective there, but well, it's got to go. That's what the crowd feel. They don't want to settle. Who was wearing the armband against Cardiff, who helped them on their way to salvation. Come back from 2 down. It's Luke Ayling wearing the armband in his stead tonight, who has helped them greatly in their efforts. And a play by Byram. But they cannot even say with any certainty that a point which they surely deserve is going to be the reward they get. Well, it may well be that we put the player of the match spotlight on a goalkeeper for once.
Yeah, if not for Alex Palmer, this is a game that West Brom would have lost. Made 2 sensational saves. The tip over Dan James's curling shot was sensational.
Can these saves help them onto the winning trail here? There may still be an opportunity. Swept away by Shackleton, but only as far as Furlong. Chalabar. Job's not complete. Malumbi's bouncer. Roger and just ensuring Meslier opted against the big boot. And Leeds build. It's James. Ampadu. How much do they have in the tank here, Leeds? 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 unleashes!
Well, that was his moment. He struggled to get any kind of decent possession throughout the game, 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷, and finally he gets on the ball. I'm not surprised at all. He steps away from Kipre, that he just puts his laces through, but really you've got to go with your instinct there, curl it back towards the target. He just goes for pure power, and he really slices it wide. It's bound to be rusty. He's not started games regularly. He's working his way back, but that was an opportunity, should at the very least have hit the target, but his technique was all wrong.
Well, now at Matthew Donoghue's discretion. But the whistle's in mouth, and it's frustration and a little injustice for Daniel Farke, his team behind to a goal that should never have stood. Malumbi's shot deflecting in off the arm of Brandon 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰. Leeds had been the better side in the first half, but they rallied and managed to haul it around again. Luke Ayling wearing the armband, powering home the header, but Alex Palmer frustrated them at pretty much every other turn. They also had a shout for a penalty that was not heeded by the officials. The West Bromwich Albion keeper had a terrific night, the player of the match, and he is one of the reasons, one of the big reasons, why West Bromwich Albion leave Elland Road with a point. The final score is Leeds United 1, West Bromwich Albion 1.
Yeah, a point apiece at Elland Road. Luke Ayling leading by example. It really was a terrific header to equalise, but as Dan said there, in commentary, really they were behind to a goal that shouldn't have stood. It came off Brandon 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰's hand. We'll look at that in more detail. Of course, Leeds had more shots, more touches in the opposition box, but Alex Palmer in the West Brom goal was outstanding. So 1-1 is how we finished. Over in Germany, Harry Kane has been making his Bundesliga debut tonight. He got an assist early on, and look at that, doing what he's been doing in the Premier League for years, scoring for Bayern Munich, his first goal for them in Germany. And his old side, Spurs, continue life without him tomorrow night in the Saturday Night Football. They play Manchester United, 5 p.m, Sky Sports Premier League. Super Sunday's a double header as Villa host Everton from 1, then West Ham Chelsea from 4. And on Monday Night Football starts at that new start time, 6:30 p.m, Sky Sports Premier League, Palace host Arsenal. And follow the dramatic story of the rebirth of Burnley under Vincent Kompany. Catch the 4-part docu-series Mission to Burnley. All episodes are available now on Sky Documentaries. And how both of these sides would love to do what Burnley did last season and get promoted back to the Premier League. But it's tough going so far, especially for Leeds this season. But they have managed to claw back a point tonight at Elland Road. Myself, Joby, Hal and Jermaine will look back on how the evening unfolded in just a moment. West Brom taking the lead through Brandon 𝓳𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰, although Jason Malumbi thought it was his. It wasn't. And then Leeds equalising through Luke Ayling's header. All your reaction on the way.
Swift, not what he would have hoped for, but it may still work out. Malumbi through the crowd and in! Well, the player who might, on another night, not have made it this far, has by hook or by crook smuggled a lead for West Bromwich Albion. James. Ayling's arriving. Ayling is there! A captain's goal for Leeds United!
Yeah, a night full of instant at Ellen Road. Young Archie Gray was enjoying his time again as he settles into this Leeds side. He is with the goal scorer Luke Ayling, and they've both been talking to John Oakes.
Well played, you two. It's a point, Luke. It could have been more, but how important is that spirit you showed in the second half?
Yeah, but then it's huge, you know. Then to come away with a point there, then we're playing against a really good team. Then a team with a lot of experience in their ranks. Then we've come here today with a very young squad again. Then we're down to the bare bones at the minute, so we just then have to keep working on the training ground. And but then it's a great point to dig in and then to come back and get a point.
For the goal, you really made the header yours, didn't you? How much of that was about sheer desire?
Yeah, just then I know then I'm in a bit of a new role. Then I got to get higher up the pitch under this, under this boss. So then I know I've got to be on the back stick there. So I just timed my run. It was a great ball by DJ, and then it was nice to get a goal.
Archie, another game ticked off. You've started every game so far this season. What's it like playing in the first team?
Yeah, obviously it's amazing. I'm just taking it game by game, just keep working on the training ground, and it was a good point. It showed good team spirit to get back into it, and I thought we were unlucky not to take all 3 points, but yeah.
What does it mean to follow in the footsteps of your dad and your granddad and your great uncle in playing for Leeds?
No, it's a lot of pressure. No, it's not. They help me all the way. You know, obviously I'm privileged to come from a family like that. Obviously they've helped me every single step of the way, guiding me what to do, and it's just about listening to them, listening to everyone around me, and seeing where it can take me.
How impressive is the maturity showing Luke?
Yeah, it's huge for us, you know, that it's no thingy that we've lost a lot of players this summer, and then for somebody like Archie, who was out for a lot of last year, then he worked so hard in the gym, then he come back from pre-season like a new man. His legs were like a man's legs. He was come back a man's body, and yeah, then to play 4 games in such short notice, then at championship level is brilliant. But then it's just not that. Then he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a great family around him, and then I'm sure that he's got great things ahead of him.
And how valuable is it to have these experienced players talking you up and to get advice from?
It's priceless, man. Especially with Bill, you know, in the games, tell me where to be, what to do. You know, having that extra bit of experience behind me, it really helps me a lot, especially in the games and especially on the training pitch. Especially with things to do in the game, where to be, what to do, second balls and stuff like that, and especially positioning. Bill helps me a lot with positioning in the game, tell me where to be, always shouting at me, but it's helpful. It's very helpful, and I'm very lucky to have teammates like Bill, Coops, all of them.
Luke, you've mentioned there's a lot of uncertainty around the place at the moment. A lot of players have left, that there could be more to follow. What is it like at the moment, and how confident are you that once it's all settled that you will challenge this season?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a very long season, this championship season, and we've still got 43 games to go. And then I'm not going to lie, I can't wait for the window to close, so we know what we got. But yeah, of course there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of players going. Hopefully we'll get a few in over the next few weeks. But we've got a great squad in there. It's a young group who really want to do well. We work hard on the training ground every day, and I know it's frustrating for the fans at the minute. But I promise you that we're working every day. Really hard. With a young team, and I'm sure things will come good.
Thank you both. Well done.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's hard to believe that Archie Gray is only 17. I don't know about you guys, but I certainly wasn't that composed and mature at 17. But again, Jermaine, he's just shown what he's capable of at such a tender age, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. It was a very difficult game today in midfield, and I felt like every time he picked the ball up, he was trying to be positive in terms of his awareness. When he picked the ball up, he was trying to drive forward. He was always looking for the forward pass. Trying to break up play as well, really, really well. And as Luke Ayling said there, he came back in the summer a new person. You know, his body looks like he's filled out a little bit. He's gotten stronger. His all-round game awareness is right up there. And genuinely, I'm excited to see where he can take himself as long as he keeps on staying really, really mellow-minded. He could turn into anything.
It's exciting to watch him develop for sure. Right, let's go back to 1-0. This was a game full of instant in the second half, Joby. There's a lot to unpack from this goal. We thought Jason Molumby had scored it, but on closer inspection, it's Brandon Thomas-Asante. But this goal should never have stood.
No, not at all. And I mean, in terms of Molumby's strike, I saw a contact after he did strike it. As soon as he did hit it in real time, it was just then a question of what did it hit? Was it a knee? Was it a hand? But you can see here clearly strikes it into the ground, pops off a defender, and then hits Thomas-Asante's hand. Clearly, that's what diverts it into the back of the net. And yes, it absolutely is a stonewall handball and should have been given, should not have been given as a goal.
OK, so Luke Ayling is on the goal line, so Asante isn't offside. But also, Hal, do you think Swift, just going in front of the assistant's view there, might have just made him miss this? Possibly.
I think everything's about timing, and 100%, you know, he's in the line of vision there. You know, the linesman in that occasion, as the ball's moving, he's probably not got the clearest view of that. And he's probably looking, you know, to the left of Brandon Asante Thomas, and actually the hand, the connecting hand going into the goal, I think he's just missed it clearly, because I think if you do see that, you're going to 100% disallow the goal, and it should have been a disallowed goal. Just
to recap as well, because it comes straight off his hand, it should be ruled out because they score as a direct result of the handball. However, as it wasn't deliberate, if another player had knocked it into the goal after he had handballed it, it would have stood. So it's really confusing, isn't it, Jermaine? But at the end of the day, Leeds fans will be completely aggrieved.
It's confusing and extremely frustrating. But look, there's nothing much we can do about it now. The reaction that we saw from the Leeds United players after this incident happened was commendable. You know, they could have easily dropped their heads and you know, licked their wounds, but they didn't. They dug deep. They really, you know, knuckled down and got the ball moving a lot quicker than what they were doing in the first half.
Yeah, well, that's how VAR would have judged it if they'd looked at it. But of course, we don't have VAR in the Championship. So look, great response from Leeds. And we'd actually been chatting here about Dan James's end product, how we wanted to see more of it. But this was a brilliant ball, wasn't it?
It was indeed, and this is something that Dan James has been, a lot of people have said about Dan James. His overall game is pretty good, but it's just his end result, whether it's the final pass or the final cross. And in this instant, it was really calm and composed when he picked the ball up. You could see him slows the defender down. He's got one thought on his mind: can I get a nice cross in? And it was a really good run from Luke Ayling at the far post. You could ask questions about Peter's defending. You know, maybe he should have got up a little bit earlier. Could he have gone and attacked the ball? But look, take nothing away from Luke Ayling. It was brilliant. He came blindside of the defender, got up nice and early, and powered the header into the bottom corner.
The bit I really like this from a winger's point of view, and I think you're right, he does get a lot of criticism for his end product. I think sometimes when you're running at the pace that he does, to find that little bit of a time and a bit of composure to deliver. And I think what he did well there, he wasn't trying to be too precise in terms of picking anyone specifically out. As you see, once he's got the ball out of his feet, he's just trying to find an area, just feel it into an area, let the attackers go and win the ball, which Luke Ayling does absolutely brilliantly. But Eric Peters has to do so much better there. He just gets caught under the ball. You can see as it comes across here, doesn't get up at all. Luke Ayling does brilliant to get across him, but it's giving him that chance to go and attack the ball rather than get there, which I see a lot with Dan James. And it's almost a hurried cross. You know, it's a near post kind of delivery rather than just feel it in there and let the attackers go and win the ball.
And then Leeds had a big penalty shout, Hal. This was 𝓤𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓰 coming through. We've seen this back. On first viewing, we all jumped up and thought it was a penalty when Kipre challenged him. But does he get a touch here?
Yeah, I think on first thought, I think we all thought it was a penalty. You know, Kipre is obviously, you know, really gone for the tackle there, but he just about makes contact with the ball, and I think fundamentally because of that touch, he gets away with it and it is the right decision. But at the same time, you know, he's followed through the man there. Obviously, it's inside of the box. You never like to see challenges like that inside of the box, particularly at that stage of the game. But you know, for West Brom's perspective, I think they will be pleased. But you know, if you can see here the touch on the ball, it's just almost, you know, it's a scuff. He scuffs it and then fully follows through on the man. So
he's never been so glad to scuff a ball there, has he?
Exactly.
But he did get a touch of the ball, and that is what counted. OK, well, Alex Palmer was outstanding in goal, and he is the player of the match, chatting to John Oakes.
Alex, well played. After your heroics, how are you looking at a point in the end?
I think we're all in there obviously a bit disappointed that it can't be 3. I think if we come away with 3, would have been absolutely delighted with that. But I think, especially second half, the way the crowd gets on top of you, I think we'd obviously delighted with a point as well.
What do you remember of that brilliant save you made from Dan James, the tip over the bar?
I've just been told I should have caught it, to be fair, a few times. But no, it's what we work for in training, you know what I mean, that moment. And yeah, it's obviously, I'm just thankfully I got a hand to it.
Were you thinking at that point that it was your night?
Yeah, but I was always obviously going to have to stay ready. It only takes one moment, and obviously, like you said, it came for them, but which we're disappointed about. But yeah, I think obviously we'll just take the point.
And from your point of view, do you feel like you're the Albion #1 choice keeper now? Do you feel like it's your position, and how much confidence has it given you to get that?
It's been massive for me. The gaffer's been great with me, and I've obviously worked a long time for this moment, and obviously the fans have been great with me, and obviously coming off and singing my name, that's what I've obviously dreamed for. That's why I've been here for so long, and continue to stay here, and just obviously want to help us get back to where we belong. So that's yeah, I'm just buzzing with it.
And someone's predicted that you're going to get Player of the Match award, haven't they? Tell us about it.
Don't tell me. He'll be delighted with a mention. But no, one of my friends, he said it's about time you get Man of the Match on telly. So yeah, but it obviously came through. Manifestation.
Nice word. Well, you got it tonight. Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you very
Sky Bet Player of the Match.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Cheers. Nice.
Cheers.
One. Appreciate it.
Yeah, perhaps keepers feel they don't get enough recognition sometimes, Hal, but there it is tonight for him, and you played with him. What sort of character is he behind the scenes?
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's very confident, I would say. In the changing room, he was obviously at that time probably 4th or 5th choice goalkeeper. But you knew he had something about him which was nice. And I think goalkeepers, you have to have that level of confidence, that resilience, because you're always getting peppered in every game, and you're letting goals in training, and you have to go and go again. And I think he's shown that, and he's really come through. Last season he had when he was in the team and playing, he performed really well, and I think nights like tonight will give him an abundance of confidence, because he's showing that he can perform at this level. And for him now, he just needs to keep doing that, because West Brom will need that over the course of the season, and they're not always going to be as defensively solid. We saw over the course of the game today, the statistics, the amount that Leeds were able to penetrate their final third. So he's going to have to give big performances like that, keep West Brom in the game, and a point away at Elland Road is not a bad result.
Yeah, and Joby, we were off our seats for these saves. I mean, to be a goalkeeper, like Hal said, you are really a target if you make a mistake, but when you do something brilliant, it deserves the plaudits too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and listen, this is as good a save as you're going to see all season, and I think Andy Hinchcliffe got it spot on in commentary about his footwork. We obviously see the touch over the crossbar, but getting himself in that position to be able to get that touch over, and again, that's a smart save. Dips on him just before it's about to arrive, so that's not as easy as it looks. It's about getting a good contact on it. Again, palms it out far enough so that the defenders can then go and clear up afterwards as well.
Absolutely, you made a great save in the first half as well. OK, well, up next, we're going to hear from both managers, Carlos Corberan and Daniel Farke. Went through it on the touchline this evening for both of their sides. Plenty of emotions displayed. We'll get their reactions next.